was out chatting the crack with Caroline there, and Greg was doing all the daddy
Slimbering up, bro.
You were just doing your daddy moves. Was that you kind of doing
stretching,
right?
Yeah,
but
stretching to a rhythm.
Yeah.
Some might call
You're
it
like
dancing.
You look like Mr. Motivator. You could do the Mr. Do you know the motivate thing in the morning?
I don't think there's an awful lot me and Mr. Motivator have in common. I mean, he's fit.
But you're fit too. So you play it down, Greg. But you're good.
I feel fit today. I had a terrible night's sleep last night.
I did too.
6 hours. I had a
you?
strange dream. I dreamt that I was driving home and I was coming up to Maclay's Corner, and Ant and Deck were filming.
And they're going to prank you.
No,
Like
they
Simon
weren't. Deck is he was arguing with some woman in the road. It was like a road rage incident.
Did you stop? See,
The other
I'm
boy
Greg Hughes.
The other boy was, no, I don't know.
From Highland Radio.
The other boy was trying to say, come on, back off. Weirdest dream.
God,
Have you
that's
ever
mad.
dreamt with celebrities in your dreams?
No.
No. Anyone out there ever had a dream, strange
With
recurring dream with
celebrities?
celebs? Yeah.
We're celebrities.
Yeah, text
Why
us.
aren't I Dick? I know they're in the news about.
Haven't a clue why. That's why it's so randomly, or I wouldn't have mentioned it.
And what did you do? Just sit in the car and watch it?
Yeah, and then just drove on.
Did you take out your photo? Did you take out your camera and take a wee
It was
video?
a dream. You see, now you start to ask me questions as if it were real, but it was a dream. It was
Was it in
strange.
black and white or colour?
It always feels like it's in colour.
Does it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Anyway, that was my
That
my
was
night.
good.
Yeah, well,
And you slept for 6 hours?
yeah.
That's the watch telling you that. How long I check my watch? I had a bad night's sleep last night. Noah's in the bed. God, he moves all over the place.
Well,
He's like a dinosaur in the bed.
I had Hudson's knees in my back all night.
Isn't it the things we have to where do you find the sleep thing on this again? Oh, how
We don't
long?
do it live.
7 hours and 13
You did
minutes.
well, that's all right.
That was
Not
good.
so bad.
All
Okay.
right. Have a good show, right?
All right, take care of yourself, Lee. 086 60 25,000 WhatsApps and text that number. I'll tell you all the other contact details after we get a news update. And it is over to Donna Marie Doherty.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. The North's Economy Minister says Invest Northern Ireland wants to change the way it does business, and that will involve a lot more consultation at a local level. Questioned in the Assembly this week about the Development Agency's plans for the North West, Minister Conor Murphy says what he envisages is a series of plans that are specific to individual areas based on local discussions. Mr Murphy told MLAs Invest Northern Ireland will have a stronger and better resourced regional presence, which he believes will help kickstart growth in the North West.
Every area in the Northwest has its own particular interests in this regard. What we are looking for is co-design, a stronger regional presence, a resourced regional presence, working in conjunction with council and businesses, with the community and voluntary sector, trade unions, other interests there. So we agree a plan, the plan that the area want delivered in order to kickstart and support growth in their area is one that will be unique to each area.
2 men have died in a road crash in County Limerick. It happened on the N69 at Ballyeengland at around 7:30 yesterday evening. Quisha Conley reports.
The men aged 19 and 20 died when the car they were passengers in crashed into a wall on the N69 at Ballyeengland at around 7:25 yesterday evening. 2 other men, the driver and another passenger aged in their late teens, were taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The bodies of the 19 and 20-year-old men were taken to the mortuary at University Hospital Limerick, where a post-mortem is due to take place. The road remains closed this morning to allow for a technical examination, and Gardaí are appealing for witnesses or anyone with video or dashcam footage of the road at the time to contact them at Askeaton Garda Station.
Meanwhile, a woman's been charged with causing the death of a pregnant woman who was hit by a car near the Donegal Fermanagh border. 28-year-old Valeria Amorim died at the scene of the collision on the Boa Road Island on Monday night. 2 other pedestrians were treated by paramedics. The suspects due in court later charged with a string of driving offences. More electoral candidate selections have been made for the Letterkenny Milford Municipal District. Fianna Fáil's 4 sitting councillors will defend their seats, meaning Councillor Liam Blaney, Councillor Kieran Brogan, Councillor Donald Coyle and Councillor Donald Mandy Kelly will all run again. Meanwhile, Sinn Féin has put forward Councillor Jerry McMonigal, who will also be defending his seat, alongside first-time candidates Sandra Haughey and Eula Hughes. Over €44,000 was invested in Donegal by Ørsted last year. The global renewable energy company provided funding to community groups and initiatives including Northwest Community Development, Skolnive Patrick and Buncrana GAA. Spree agus Sport in Carndonagh were awarded €60,000 in funding across 3 years, and CEO Helen Nolan says it allowed them to bring new ideas and programmes to the community. Looking now to weather, wet and windy this morning with outbreaks of rain gradually clearing eastwards this morning, brightening up with a mix of sunny spells and scattered showers. Top temperatures of 9 to 12 degrees. That's all for now from Highland Radio News. Back again at 10 o'clock.
This Daffodil Day, March 22nd, we're going all in against cancer. All of the runners, the donors, the bakers, makers and bucket shakers will be giving their all with the Irish Cancer Society to support people affected by cancer. But the day won't be the same without you and your support. So go all in and get involved today at cancer.ie.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio. And now it's time for the talk of the Northwest, The 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello, good morning to you. Halfway through the Monday to Friday working week. I was going to say halfway through the working week, but so many of us and so many of you out there work weekends. But anyway, look, it is Wednesday. What is it, Hump Day they call it? I think we can agree on that. It is the 21st of February 2024. You're very welcome along to another edition of your 9 till Noon Show. We've got loads lined up on the programme, covering a range of local issues, national issues and beyond. We want your views as well. We platform them for you and it's been so busy and we really do appreciate it. 086 60 25 000 WhatsApps and texts. As we were going off air yesterday, we were debating whether or not school uniforms should be done away with, and we got a great response to that, but we just ran out of time to get to the comments. So if you text in, we'll catch up on that as well. And it's still open for debate. Some of the arguments being made were that there's no evidence that it decreases bullying or levels the playing field, so to speak. But then I think, and we'll go through the text as I say a little later on, the majority of you out there in favour of the uniform. Personally, I would be too. But anyway, we'll get your views on that and anything else you want to talk about. You can give us a call too on 07491 25,000 or email us from wherever you're listening. And it's always nice to know where you're tuned in from. And often people who watch the show tell us that they're watching from far-flung places, and some places not quite so far-flung. But always tell us where you're listening from. 086 60 25 000. Actually, I was listening to... someone messaged me and they said that they were climbing some mountain or something. Can't remember where it was, but they were halfway up the mountain and they listened to the podcast of the show at a base camp or other. And I thought, wow, that's the strangest place anyone has ever said that they'd listen to this show. But maybe someone out there can beat that. Where's the strangest or most exotic place you've ever listened to the 9 till Noon Show, or a podcast of the programme? It's available for you at 1 o'clock every day. Where's the strangest place? And I'll allow you to decide what's strange or not. Where's the strangest place you've listened to this show or its podcast, either live or otherwise? As I say, someone listened to the programme halfway up a mountain at base camp. I thought, well, that's kind of cool. But maybe you can beat that, or maybe you can't. It's up to you. 086 60 25 000. And a couple of people actually messaging in about weird celebrity dreams. If you've had any of those, let us know about those too. 086 60 25 000. All right, it's a mix. You know, it's all about a mix. Let's go to the newspapers this morning. The Finn Valley Voice, they tell us that Sinn Féin select 3 candidates to contest Lifford Stranorlar LEA at a packed Villa Rose Hotel in Ballybofey. Last Thursday night, Sinn Féin selected 3 candidates to contest the local election in the Lifford Stranorlar local election area on the 7th of June. They've got details of that. I'll not go through it just for balance because obviously lots of candidates were announced overnight and you heard it on the news. Right, the Irish Times. Good news. We flagged it yesterday and it came to pass. Cross-border programme to include key €600 million A5 upgrade. Rebuilding one of the most dangerous roads in Ireland will take the lion's share of an €800 million government funding package for cross-border projects, which was unveiled yesterday. The long-stalled A5 upgrade between Derry and Auchnacloy in County Tyrone, it was approved by the Stormont executive 17 years ago. Well, it's to receive $600 million from the Shared Ireland Initiative and comes in the wake of a high-profile campaign by families who've lost loved ones to the treacherous stretch. There have been more than 50 fatalities on the road since 2006, with 10 dying in 1 year alone. Construction work on the new road, which is part of the main route between Dublin and Donegal, is expected to begin later this year. A €50 million commitment was also given by Taoiseach Leo Varadkar to the redevelopment of Casement Park GEA Stadium in West Belfast in the wake of it being chosen as a venue for the Euro 2028 football tournament, while further funding was guaranteed for the narrow water bridge project linking the county downtown of Warren Point with the county Louth village of Omeath in what will be a significant tourism boost for the wider area, and also money put aside to or is to be invested to facilitate hourly train journeys between Belfast and Dublin. Sorry about all the ums. Just have to think about that off the top of my head, but I wanted to reference it. All right, so good news. Your reaction to that, 086 60 25,000. As you can imagine, it's been broadly welcomed. I did hear some disquiet from landowners who may be affected, but as I say, at this point, I think we have to look at the bigger picture and the amount of loss of life, serious injury, life-changing injuries, and just families devastated by the condition of that current road, and it's contributing to road traffic collisions. I think just it has to go ahead at this point now, doesn't it? Broadband is on the up. A string of telecom companies are increasing their prices, putting further pressure on household budgets. This is the Irish Independent. Vodafone and Three Ireland are to hike their prices in the next 2 months. The bills for some people on bundled plans will rise by €96 a year. It comes after Sky Ireland said it would hit many of its 600,000 customers with price rises in its broadband and TV subscription fees. The Sky move will mean an average increase for households of around €52 a year from April. The average increase of 4.1% follows a similar hike last year. Hopefully because there's current customer prices, new customer prices. Hopefully some of those costs, if you do it, and you should, will be offset by people switching around. But still, it is a price that is another bill that's going on. On to the Irish Daily Mail now, and Sinn Féin would rerun the 2 upcoming referendums should they fail, and has heavily criticised the wording of the proposed amendment to the Constitution. Despite this, the party is calling for yes votes in the 2 March 8 polls, one on the definition of family and a second that would remove references to women's duties in the home to be replaced with a recognition the role of carers in Irish society. Party leader Mary Lou McDonald said the Care Amendment referendum was an opportunity missed by the government, which it accused of having an abysmal track record on families and carers. However, she insisted that she does not secretly hope the referendum will fail in what would be seen as a kick in the teeth for the government. Launching the party's referendum campaign yesterday, Ms McLaughlin, Senator Lynn Boylan, who is leading the campaign, and health spokesperson David Cullinan sharply criticised both the government and the proposed amendment in the Constitution. But be that as it may, they are still endorsing a yes, and they say that they will rerun it if they fail, presumably if in power. What do you think about that? We have a history of being asked questions in this country, making a decision, and then the question being put back to us again. February has been an awful month on the roads, with, again, referencing the A5 a little earlier on, an incredible loss of life. So many people have perished, so many families destroyed and devastated. And particularly, well, I can't say particularly because all death is incredibly tragic, but one which particularly struck me. A woman who was 6 months pregnant has died after a crash, police have confirmed. The collision happened at Bow Island Road in Beleek, County Fermanagh, just across the border from Ballyshannon on Monday evening, and is believed to have involved a car and 3 pedestrians. The PSNI has named the woman who died as 28-year-old Valeria Amorim from the Beleek area. The PSNI also confirmed that a woman aged in her 30s was arrested at the scene. On to the Irish Daily Mirror now, and the government is failing homeless children. A Stark report warned yesterday the Children's Rights Allowance gave Taoiseach Leo Varadkar and his colleagues a D grade on its commitment to reduce the number of families without their own place. The Social Democrats said child homelessness was up 56% in the lifetime of this government, with nearly 4,000 children in emergency accommodation. Leader Holly Cairns blasted how 4 years into this government we are still seeing so many lives devastated by homelessness. And finally, I'm not sure this will change your views on how much time our young ones spend playing games, be it on their phones, PlayStations, Xboxes, PCs, etc. But anyway, computer gaming can improve your memory and focus, new research by Irish experts revealed. The study in the British Journal of Psychology found hardcore gamers perform better on tasks measuring cognitive functions than non-gamers. The experiment, which took place at the Lero Esports Science Research Lab at the University of Limerick, involved 88 young adults, half of whom regularly played more than 7 hours of action-based video games each week. And that doesn't surprise me, because you have to think on your feet, you have to think in milliseconds, and you have to react and all that type of stuff. So I think no more than Sudoku or crosswords or Wordle can sort of help the brain. I do think there is a within reason. It's a logical argument. I think that gaming would also have the same impact. Okay, 086 60 25,000. That's the WhatsApp and text number. Or you can give us a call on 074 91 25,000.
The newspapers are courtesy of Kelly Centra Mountaintop Letterkenny, the C-Store National Large Forecourt of the Year for 2022.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Enter the Virgin Media Playhouse for unbelievable value from Ireland's best broadband. Get 500 meg super fast, reliable broadband for just €35 a month for 12 months. And no activation fee when you act now. Switch in-store or at virginmedia.ie. Virgin Media, it's playtime.
T's and C's apply. See virginmedia.ie. Subject to location and availability. New customers only. 12-month contract. 500 meg broadband. €70 thereafter. Ireland's best broadband awarded by Umlaut. See virginmedia.ie/proof.
Charlie McClafferty Funeral Directors, serving Letterkenny and the surrounding areas for over 100 years. Charlie McClafferty Funeral Directors. Let our family take care of your family and guide you through a difficult time.
Is the appearance of your staff important to your business? It's the first point of contact for customers when entering your premises. At C&M Embroidery in Letterkenny, they have a huge range of clothing covering all areas of the workplace. It's widely known that customers warm to and trust employees that present themselves well. Have your company name embroidered or printed on all your work uniforms. Contact C&M Embroidery on 07491 28097 and get your staff looking their best.
Are you tired of waiting for treatment or surgery? Did you know you can receive immediate treatment across the border under the new NI planned healthcare scheme at potentially no cost? Donegal patients are still being treated with us at Kingsbridge Private Hospital Northwest post-Brexit. The process is easy and our dedicated team will help guide you through it. So why wait? Contact us today to find out how you can skip the waiting lists and receive treatment in Northern Ireland. Visit kingsbridgeprivatehospital.com, because life matters.
Choose life. Choose fun. Choose not sitting at home getting bored. Choose something better. Something really fun. Choose Fundamania. Coming to the Brunswick Movie Bowl from March 1st. Choose regular, junior or family wristbands and enjoy some of Europe's top thrill rides. Choose fun for all ages. A legendary Fundamania event, 1st to the 17th of March. For details, see fundamania.co.uk.
Okay, I received a number of contacts over the last couple of days, and this is one of them, and it concerns services at St. Joseph's Hospital in Stranorlar. And someone mentioned that I might like to know that the physiotherapy department and OT services are no longer going to be there. The inpatient, I'm told, will no longer receive rehab PT from the local area and will have to travel to the Donegal Hospital or Lifford for physiotherapy. This is to carry out upgrade works on fire regs. Other primary care services, I'm told, are still allowed to use that part of the building, which makes no sense to this listener. This is a service that will never return, they fear, to the hospital, which has been a plan to get rid of the physio for a number of years. Just like the day services, another valued service that was taken away overnight. I know you're on the Save Our Hospital but they're not. This has obviously been forwarded to other people. I know you're on the Save Our Hospital committee, which I'm not, but as I say, this was forwarded to a number of people. You might be able to get word out. Okay. Councillor Patrick McGowan joins me on the programme now. Councillor, have you had an opportunity to look into this? Is this something that was raised with you? Is physiotherapy, OT services to be removed from St. Joseph's Hospital?
Yeah, well, the first we heard about this was yesterday, and the HSE had started to contact patients themselves that would have appointments. Nobody else has been consulted. As you know, there's been an embargo with communication with TDs and councillors in the HSE there since last October. That was only lifted last week. So when I spoke to them, they knew nothing about it. I have been trying to contact people within the HSE, this morning and yesterday evening, but I've got no response back from nobody. But it is from speaking to people within the Save St. Joseph's Hospital Committee yesterday. There's a great anger out there, and yes, the intent now, anybody for physio will no longer be able to get it in St. Joseph's. Now, whether this is temporary or not, apparently what's going on, because the day services were removed during COVID, because apparently I think we're saying you can't have day services now within the confines of the hospital. You're bringing people in, cross-contamination. Now, I have introduced HSE to a number of builders property owners in Balbafane, Stranraer and the region there over the last maybe 6 months, a year. They were negotiating, trying to get a daycare service, whether that'll be temporary for a couple of years. They're working on that there actively at the moment. They're negotiating with 2 or 3 people. This physio thing is completely out of the blue. There is a room there. It's a very large room. What they're planning on doing, the fact there's no communication with nobody, the hospital committee, nobody else, and it's just the way the HSE seem to be doing their business. And I can tell you, this will be fought vigorously by everybody. We're just totally disgusted the way this news is just leaked out and broke out. And it reminds you of the bad old days. Like, this didn't come from a minister in Dublin announcing closing St. Joseph's. This was leaked out again.
I mean, surely at the very least, I would have imagined that this type of information should be given to members of the regional group to say, by the way, such and such is happening. It's going to be closed for a period of time, or it's going to be closed permanently. I mean, that is the function of that committee. You would imagine that local representatives are informed of plans, and then they can tell the local community. I mean, like, for people in the Finn Valley area who are in hospital at the moment, and there's bound to be some now, if not those into the future, as part of their recovery, as part of getting out of Letterkenny University Hospital, there would be some physio. So are we saying to people in Ballybofey, Stranraer, we're going to discharge you from Letterkenny University Hospital for physio in Lifford or Donegal Town? This is going to cause an awful lot of heartache and misery for patients and for their families as well. And it's just come out of the blue, and we've only heard about it because someone was good enough to leak the information. Yeah. Look, it's the total lack of communication. It reminds you of the bad old days. It's just, it's like a secret organisation, and HSE blames HICWA on that. Nobody is communicating, nobody's talking. As I say, the members of the HSE forum were on a news blackout. There's an embargo on since October last year, just to last week, and I've spoken to them, spoken to I've emailed the TDs and ministers and everybody and waiting to get back. I've only heard myself yesterday, the same as the people in the town. It's an absolute disgrace the way they're dealing. They don't it's not that they even communicate, never mind consultation. It's a disgrace. I would love to see the councillor and everybody else trying to act like this. It's an absolute disgrace, number one, that they don't communicate. And number two, we're not going to stand for this carry on of running down the services by stealth or by any other way. Yes, HICWA might have come in. HICWA needs to sit down and put it out on paper what they need and what they don't. And if they want, there's plenty of room around St. Joseph's Hospital. It's a totally separate building. There's land beside it that we have zoned, and there's a buffer zone around it that can't be built on. There's plenty of opportunities, but nobody is talking to nobody. But if this is about concerns about upgrades following that HICWA report, I think centred on fire regs and what have you, then nothing should be in there in this space, but physio is being removed, but the likes of admin and ETC are staying in that. So that where's the logic in that? How could it be? How could it accommodate one body of work and not another if it's off the back of a HICWA report? Again, that doesn't make sense. And now we're going to have to bombard the HSE with emails. And in 3 or 4 or 5 days, maybe it'll be sooner, I don't know, we'll get a response, and maybe they will say, we hope to have these services returned by the 15th of June. I'm just picking a figure out of my head, right? There's no suggestion of that. Yeah. And it's all this heartache and all this concern and all this distress for people, often for no reason. I'm not preempting what the HSE will say, but it will probably be like dragging teeth. And maybe the news might not be quite as bad as we first feel. I don't know.
No,
but when the information is leaked like this, it causes so much pain.
It's by stealth. They've also there was dental services on there. They were removed around the same time. Now they say they're providing them elsewhere, and as I say, the daycare services were shut down because they couldn't bring people in. And I know they're actively pursuing them on a temporary ground, but they're not talking to us. They're telling nobody. It's an awful way to do it. But I'll tell you, we have demanded now a meeting for the local representatives and the SOS committee. They need to explain themselves, the way of doing business. It's an absolute disgrace. There's nobody that have any confidence, and nobody would believe what they're saying anymore. It's just, I think it's Kathleen Lynch at the time let the cat out of the bag in Dublin. They thought nobody would notice it, until it was spotted and highlighted, but they won't tell us the truth, what the long-term or short-term plan is, and that's everybody. That's the TDs, the councillors. No, we don't know either.
A caller says St. Joseph's lost its dental service. It never returned. Chiropodist gone, never returned. Day centre gone, never returned. I was there yesterday and was told that they couldn't give me another date for my physiotherapy because they had to be out by Friday and didn't know what was happening. So, to some extent, it sounds like the staff are being kept in the dark as well. I take it, the makeup of this building and how services are provided. For a period, if it's not still the case, St. Joseph's was sort of seen as almost the default step down from Letterkenny University Hospital. Is this in any way linked to that?
I don't think so. What happened there, we had respite beds in St. Joseph's. That's for local families getting care of. Plus, stepped down. HSE stepped in some months ago, and they've taken over the majority of them beds now. A step down for Letterkenny Hospital. We had people from Ballyfence and Ireland, when they're coming to Letterkenny Hospital, they're told to check maybe we can't done or somewhere, because there's probably people from Letterkenny and St. Joseph's. It doesn't seem to have any rationale, any planning going on at all. At least if they come out and tell us short term, long term. We know there's a new 120 bed been built in Letterkenny, and that will be very good. That will be helping acute patients in the hospital step over and respite. But they won't tell us, whatever reason, they will not tell us what's going on at St. Joseph's. I do know, as I say, they are actively pursuing daycare services. I've been speaking to a number of property owners in Ballyfay and around the area, Stranraer, and I've introduced them to a couple, and they are interested. That can be pulled together. But as regards this other stuff, I have no idea at all.
Stay where you are. John Quinn is chair of the Lifford Community Hospital Group. John, good morning to you.
Good morning to you all.
Right.
I'm not surprised listening to Paddy McGowan there, the councillor, that everybody's been kept in the dark. The HSE do keep people in the dark, and so does the county council now. The county councillors as well. They have to hold their hands up too and take some blame on this, because this problem we're talking about now didn't just happen overnight. It's been going on for the last 5, 10, maybe 15 years, and it's been going on since this council has been in situ. So it's not a new thing, and I'm surprised to hear them up in arms already about stuff leaving St. Joseph, and not one word about what happened in Lifford. That's a disgrace. Not one word. Now, I have to congratulate what happened in Ballyshannon yesterday. A new hospital has been opened and up and running. That's the way we need to go. And if people remember properly, during COVID, we were in a bad situation where we had no beds to put people into, and we had community hospitals all over the place that would take respite people out of the general hospital and free up beds that people were dying. And yet now the county councillors and our 5 TDs have to hold their heads in shame when they allow that to happen.
But John,
now,
in relation to St. Joseph's, I mean, you know, like there are plenty of opportunities for the HSE to inform the council. I mean, in fairness to the councillors, they're learning this news just as we are. They're getting the same correspondence I'm getting saying the HSE seem to have made this decision.
Yes, Greg, can I highlight the fact that what's really going on? There's a lack of communication. There is a kind of an embargo or a strike, or call it what you want, between the officials, civil servants, and the county councillors. The county councillor come to me last week in Ballybofey. It's not Paddy McGowan, another one, and said, John, Lifford Hospital is on the go. It's going. 100% it's going. But he says we cannot get any communications from the officials in Lifford because they're not talking to the county councillors. And that's resulting in the likes of myself and family members and the wider community suffering because we cannot get the facilities we need. And the HSE is using that to move stuff out of St. Joseph's and elsewhere because there's nobody communicating with them. And that is a problem.
Yep.
How in the name of God can a civil service like the officials refuse to talk to elected representatives? And we're sitting back, our group are sitting back, waiting and waiting and waiting. They need to get in around a round table and put their grievances outside the door and sit down and talk about the benefit and the needs of the communities that they represent.
Yeah, I mean, we can't argue the toss on whether or not that type of industrial action is justified or not. People have their own opinions on that. John, I'm going to have to let you go.
I'm a former trade unionist. I was involved in national level and local level and regional level. I believe in trade unions have a job to do, but this is different. This is where people are suffering from the lack of people getting around the table and discussing what needs to happen. It's not an overnight thing. This has been going on now for far too long, and Patrick McGowan knows about it.
Well, he's on the line with us. Councillor McGowan, I want to give you an opportunity to reply to that.
Oh, no, I have no disagreement. I have no disagreement with what John says. We do know there's a plan for Lifford. It's very advanced. You know, my colleague Jerry Crawford is the one pushed it inside and outside. He used every leverage possible up and down. We believe the same was happening in St. Joseph's, that there was investment coming into it. We were mainly looking on the, as you know, the long-term and short-term beds. Obviously worried about the services. This came out of the blue yesterday. As you say, there's an embargo since 6 months or October. So I know, and I spoke to my colleague Jerry Crawford.
Just to be clear on that, that is linked to industrial action. Can you just, for the listeners who may not be aware, what's actually happening there, Councillor?
Well, look, I'm not, like John, I'm certainly not having a go with the unions. They have to use various tools to get the message across. But what we're saying here is the HSE staff, the same happened in the council last year, all year nearly. They have refused to communicate with any TDs, ministers, or public representatives whatsoever, and that's across all levels.
Is this linked to the embargo? Is it
just an embargo? It's their tool, obviously.
Yeah, but it's linked to is it linked to the recruitment embargo, career progression embargo, and what have you? Okay.
And what happened? That's been looked at last week. Now we had the same in the council before, so hopefully progress made.
Okay.
But that that in itself's a red herring. There's nothing to stop. To refuse to communicate with the public. Never mind the politicians. Forget about them communicating. Put it out there. Tell exactly what's going on with the daycare services. I'm worried now about everything because, if they're this on one service, they've added in every other service.
Okay, stay there. Paul Anderson is going to be affected by this news. Paul, thanks for the time this morning. What's your situation? What's your reaction to what we're learning?
I think it's terrible. The local services are being pulled out of St. Joseph's. I've experienced physio on three occasions, and it's got me up and about with the great professionalism of the physio in there, where rather than having to go 3/4 an hour or half an hour to Letterkenny in a traffic jam, having a local service. Apart from that, they've withdrew the day services. Where do the people go for them day services. They're very well needed, especially for older people living alone. And they've just disappeared. No word about them.
And Paul, have you finished your physio? Have you finished your physio now at the hospital, or do you would you need to go back?
Yeah. I broke my leg in Gumbo Woods last year.
Right.
It took a bit of treatment to get me up and walking again, but they were brilliant in there, I must say. I went through a lot of pain, but the physios, with their humour and their professionalism, were absolutely top class.
All right, Paul, listen, thank you for that. Councillor McGowan, before we wrap this up for now, we'll come back to it, of course. Yeah. You know, this is people who can travel. Sometimes, you know what I mean? If Donegal Town, I mean, for some people, it's like, well, where do I even begin? How do I do that? I mean, we understand that we can't have all these services on everybody's doorstep. That's not what we're talking about here. No. These are regional services.
No, what we want here, Greg, Ballyfinch North is the third largest town in the county. It's the largest in the Donegal Southwest by far. The next towns are half the size. So we start taking them out of the large towns now and put them into smaller towns. This wouldn't happen in Letterkenny. It wouldn't happen in Dublin. This is just simply not on. I have friends, neighbours, families, everybody that's affected this. The phone calls is hopping here, and it's something we will not be accepting. But it's gone back, and John said it's about communication. What is wrong with them? They're public servants, and it's time they started to act like it. Must have got to know who. Is it somebody in Russia is paying them? But certainly you wouldn't think it was Irish people was paying them. It's an absolute disgrace.
Okay, thank you very much for that. That's Councillor Patrick McGowan. We also heard from John Quinn and Paul as well. If you've any views on that, 086 60 25,000 WhatsApps and texts. We will make our inquiries to the HSE to get something on the record. What is the commitment? Is it temporary? Is it open-ended? Why? What will have to happen for these services to return? I don't understand why we always have to play whack-a-mole with these issues. Why not have just informed us? Why not send a press release out or contact local representatives and say, you know, and this didn't happen, I'm making it up, say that due to essential upgrade works of St. Joseph's Hospital, unfortunately physiotherapy services will not be available for 4 weeks. They will be offered here or here, and hopefully they'll return on such and such a date. That's not what was put out. Instead, what happened is people heard about this on the QT. Why can't they just communicate with the public? Why can't they communicate with the elected reps and the press? Why have this heartache and uncertainty every single time with these issues? It is so frustrating.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Hello, Jedward speaking. Sorry, Edward speaking.
Hey bro, I'm glad you picked up.
Who is this?
It's me, John. I'm literally outside in the landing.
I don't know any Sean. Lose my number. Hello?
Edward, don't hang up. I'm sorry for saying a handyman could fix the gas boiler. Please forgive.
Always use a registered gas installer, or you could risk everything. Find one at rgi.ie.
Open your future by attending Northwest Regional College Open Days. This is your opportunity to visit your local campus, tour the fabulous facilities, sample the college experience and apply for your course. Running from 12 noon each day, beginning 27th of February, Strabane campus, 28th of February, Stranroad and Springtown campuses, and 29th of February, Limavady and Greystone campuses. Register online to attend to win a high-spec laptop. Northwest Regional College Open Days. From here to career.
Are you building, rebuilding or renovating? What heat pumps or solar panels would suit your build? Come along and speak to the experts, Efficient Renewables on heat pumps and solar panels. Get advice on installation and grants available. Visit the Efficient Renewables showroom in Newton Cunningham and see these products in operation for yourself.
Do you need a UK address? Save hundreds of euros on custom charges shopping online with Space Hub Dairy. We provide a full virtual address mailbox service for all your business and personal use. Save hundreds, possibly thousands, on custom charges with Space Hub Dairy. Call 048 71 87 8077 or online spacehubdairy.com for more details.
The way you eat a cream egg says everything about you. If you eat yours in small nibbles, that means you're real deep. You can sense when someone's about to text you. Your dreams mean stuff, and you keep all your birthday cards in a special box. Search Cream Egg Test to find out who you really are. Cadbury Cream Egg. How do you eat yours?
Now we are going to Loreto Milford Community School and to talk to three transition year students. Brianna McGee. Good morning to you, Brianna.
We can't hear
you. Can't hear me? Okay, right. Okay, we'll have to kick you out and bring you back in again. We're going to be going to the students in a moment. Give us a thumbs up if you can hear. Can you hear me now? No? Nothing. You can hear me now. Okay. Brianna McGee, how are you?
Good.
Good to have you with us. Grace Doherty's there as well. Hi, Grace.
Hi.
And also Niamh McLaughlin.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, missed calls done a vanishing act. Whatever's going on there. Okay, there she is. I just saw her peep of her. Right, so tell us about this project that you're working on. I don't know which one of you want to start the conversation. Maybe you, Brianna, if that's okay. You're working on spreading the awareness of water safety. Why did you choose this conversation?
Because the girl in our class is a lifeguard and she's really associated with water safety, so it was just good to know that someone in the class knows what was going on.
Yeah, it's Grace. It's good, isn't it, to have someone who you can lean on that's involved in Water Safety Ireland. A trained lifeguard, I believe she is as well. It's not one of you three, it's a fourth student, is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
All right, so tell us how you're trying to spread awareness, Grace.
So we hope to raise awareness with this project by combating the issue of drowning. As drowning is such a death in Ireland, as there's been over 100 deaths in Ireland every year from 2018. Last year there were 76 and 8 of those happened right here in Donegal. And we believe this is due to a subsequent lack of knowledge surrounding water safety. We believe this starts in primary schools as not enough children are learning to swim when they're in primary schools. This is also because of COVID, as a lot of lessons stopped during COVID and people began to create a fear. So to combat this issue, we have created a book, Splash and Friends Adventure in Water Safety. This is targeted at younger primary school ages and preschool classes in hopes to make them more aware of water safety. We have also created presentations to bring to the first year classes to help with their awareness. We carried out a survey with our first year students. Of the 138 students we surveyed, 15 of those students couldn't swim. 79 had a basic ability and confidence, and 42 believed they would be confident enough to jump in to save a life. We also asked these students, where did they learn how to swim? 115 said they learned in pool lessons, and 45 said they learned with primary schools. And we believe this isn't enough. This brings us back to our previous point about the lack of importance surrounding water safety in primary schools.
Just on that, just give us those figures again. How many students did you speak to?
We spoke to 138 students.
And how many said they could swim?
So 15 said they couldn't swim, 79 said they had a basic ability and confidence, and 42 believed that they were confident enough to jump in to save a life.
Yeah, and I'd say the 79 feel they could probably jump off a pier and get back to the steps, sort of a thing, rather than maybe, you know, actually swim 3 or 4 lengths or something along those lines. Niamh, too, I suppose, particularly with us being a coastal county with a massive coast, I think we often associate water safety with the sea. But very sadly, an awful lot of lives are lost in, you know, flooded quarries, you know, rivers, lakes, and what have you. So it's important, isn't it, that the safety messages is across all of our waterways, Niamh, and not just the sea.
Yeah, it's good to cover like everything. Yeah.
What has been the reaction, Brianna? What has been the reaction to the students that you've spoken to? Do you know what I mean? Like, are they keen to sort of go? Yeah. What I'm trying to get at here is, do you think there is a willingness for young people to learn to swim if, you know, the schools and adults do more to sort of facilitate that?
I think in secondary it'd be too late. I think it's better to introduce swimming lessons in primary school.
Yeah.
Most of the students we spoke to most were keen to get into the water, but some were fearful as they've never got lessons or been able to be taught.
Right.
We noticed this whenever we did kayaking with our class group, as many students were fearful to actually get into the water at all, never mind actually kayak, due to not having enough swimming lessons.
Yeah, for sure. And listen, you know, there are challenges in that. We would know the likes of Inishowen has no public swimming pool, no availability. So schools have to take students into Derry or into private facilities. So there is an inconsistency of available facilities around the county for this. But look, it's something certainly, and I think as a coastal county and with our inland waters, something we really need to be working on. Niamh, how much have you enjoyed this part of your transition year experience getting into a project like this?
Yeah, it's definitely something different anyway, and it's good to like all work together on the same topic, like of something we're passionate about as well.
Yeah, Brianna, is that your experience as well? Have you enjoyed working on this project?
Yeah, it's definitely brought our class together more, that we're all passionate working on something, and the fact that we might get to go away for the actual competition then as well.
Yeah, talk to me a little bit about that, Brianna. When is the competition?
The 13th of March.
Okay, brilliant stuff. And finally, Grace, you actually have this book available now, do you?
Yeah, so we're hoping to roll it out now to primary schools this week, and myself and the Girlies of Lifeguard, we're going to visit a few primary schools and a local play school to read them the book to help them understand the differences in the different flags on the beach, as that's very important surrounding water safety.
Yeah, and how many students could describe what a riptide is, for an example, and what are the dangers of it? I'm not going to ask you now, but you know what I mean? It's these are some of the dangers that we have in our waters. And I think it's important that people enjoy the water and are confident to be able to go in and have fun and understand the dangers rather than us all running around scared to go into the water. Do you know what I mean? I think particularly in a county with such a beautiful coastline. Okay, well, listen, congratulations to all of you. And I look forward to seeing this, actually, because I think it's a really good thing. It amazes me how many people can't swim, even fishermen and fisherwomen, fishers as they're called generally now. You know, the amount that can't swim. It's astonishing. Yeah, we really should be swimming more. Okay, listen, thanks to all three of you. Thanks to Ms. Coyle as well for facilitating the chat. And best luck. How will you know, or what is the next stage, Grace, in terms of, I think it was Brianna mentioned a competition, or what's happening next?
Yes, so we're going to a speak out competition in Sligo where we like bring our project to the stage and we do a talk, and we have a bit of like a creative side to it. We're going to do a bit of like a showcase of what happens whenever someone drowns, and then how the lifeguard comes to save them.
That's not scary at all, Niamh, is it? The whole idea of... All right, okay. Listen, well done all three of you. Have a lovely day. Thanks so much. And get back to class. That's Brianna McGee, Grace Doherty, Niamh McLaughlin. They're transition year students from Loreto Milford Community School. Their project for the transition year is spreading the awareness of water safety, and it's for the Young Social Innovators competition. And early next month, they head to Sligo to make their presentation, and we wish them well. And if you are a teacher in a school or a student in a school or the parents of students in school, regular listeners would know we love to platform the amazing work that our young people do and the innovation and the ideas that come up with. So feel free to contact us, because that's often what happens. Someone contacts us and then we get them on. Simple as that. Right. If money is being made available for the A5 upgrade, when is the Lifford Road upgrade starting? There was T10 money there as well. I just wasn't able to dig that out. Leave it with me. I'm coming back to that. The dental clinic in St. Joseph's closed 2 years ago during COVID. None of the county councillors did anything about it, according to this listener. I'm not sure. I can't remember everything. There are offices in that building now. Why do they only care now, is the question. Maybe there was so much going on. I don't want to be apologist, but I don't know if... no one said anything at that time, but I do appreciate it. I do appreciate your comment there.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
In southern Malawi, communities are facing extreme floods followed by extreme dry spells. Melita is a single mother who farms to support her 4 children. In 2023, a record cyclone ripped across her farm, with rainwaters destroying crops and damaging her home. When her farm faced a withering dry spell later in the year, Melita was left wondering how she would access safe water or feed her family again. Throcra is working with Melita and thousands more like her to adapt to the devastating effects of climate change. You can help them build a more secure future. Visit throcra.org or call 1-800-408-408. Together, we can make a lasting difference. This extreme weather report on Highland Radio was brought to you by Throcra.
Uno, dos, tres. A hain, a do, a tree. 1, 2, 3. The Arona, the Ateca and the Tarraco. 3 great SUVs from Seat. And when you order now, you can enjoy 3 years free tyre insurance and 3 years roadside assistance, plus 3 flexible payment options to purchase your new Seat. Visit seat.ie to discover even more of our fantastic offers. Great things come in threes at DMG Motors Donegal Town. And while I have 3 seconds, allow me to say that yes, terms and conditions apply.
A public interest message from Donegal County Council. Water flowing onto roads damages the road and may cause an accident when it freezes or leaves mud and stones lying about. Donegal County Council reminds landowners and occupiers of land that they are responsible for ensuring water is prevented from flowing onto roads from their land. Checking and fixing drains on your property and ensuring you complete works on your planning permission will help you comply with your responsibilities. Donegal County Council would like to thank the many members of the public who have already carried out this work. Donegal County Council, supporting communities and the environment.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by Grant. Building a new home? Choose Grant's A++ rated Airona air to water heat pump and Uflex underfloor heating. Visit grant.ie.
Now, wet and windy to begin today, without breaks of rain, gradually clearing eastwards this morning, brightening up from the west with a mix of sunny spells and scattered showers. Temperatures 9 to 12 degrees. They'll occur early on, but cooler air will spread into the region this afternoon. Fresh to strong southwest to west winds will ease later, so it is going to get more seasonal in terms of our weather. Rightio, I'm joined on the show now by Stella Farron. Good morning to you, Stella. How are you keeping?
Good morning, Greg. I'm well. Many thanks for having us on today.
No, it's good to have you on. Sorry, it took a while. A new single has been released. It's free to download from SoundCloud or Google Drive, and it's called Full Redress. And I think anyone who listens to this show, anyone from Donegal, will have a fair idea what it's about. So I think it was you and your sister, Lorraine McCauley, decided to work on this project. Give us the background to it.
Yeah, that's correct. Myself and my sister, Lorraine, who I have to say is the real singer-songwriter of the family, wrote the song together about just before the first Micah March in Dublin. But it came about as just sitting, Lorraine with her guitar and me talking about how I felt as being an affected homeowner. I suppose the song came about from a feeling of frustration and disillusionment, and feeling, I suppose, that we were being held accountable or responsible for something that was beyond our control. And essentially, as a homeowner, we did nothing wrong. So I kind of put down the words, and together we came up with an acoustic version. We had Marita Turris join us, a cousin of our own who's fabulous at harmonising. And we had it there, but we never really did anything with it. Mm-hmm. And then just prior to Christmas this year, again, there was a few friends gathering, and friends like local Inishowen musicians, as the well-known Henry Gers, Lorna and Jolene. And we kind of felt that maybe the song could change to more an up-tempo anthem, I suppose a protest anthem, sort of to, I suppose, describe our own personal feelings and how we're all affected. And watching our families and friends and communities suffering sort of poor mental health and this injustice that's kind of affecting us.
And I think changing changing the tone of the song is quite interesting, because if it was very slow and ballady, it could seem as if it's a cry from victims, which it is, of course, as well. Yes. But in mixing it up a little bit, it actually becomes like a fight, if that makes sense. Is that some of the thinking behind it?
Yeah, I think so. I think probably initially it was quite melancholy. You were kind of feeling quite alone. It was prior to the first Micah March. And to all extent, you did feel alone, you know. But there has been a great coming together, I suppose, of people. And I mean, shout out to MAG and all the work, past and present, they have to bring the scheme to where it was. But still, I think the anthem felt for, like, personally, I can't access the scheme at the moment. And, you know, you're listening, it's becoming a bit of a political football back and forth. And at the end of the day, you know, it's the homeowners that are listening to the homes cracking, the children frightened, and, you know, raise your voice. Enough is enough. When is something, you know, give us some hope. When is something going to change? And, you know, a genuine sort of full redress coming down the line, you know?
Tell us where the song's available, because I want to leave enough time to play it before the news at 10.
The song is available on Spotify. The song is available on Google Drive. And we have posted the song on our own personal pages. And I think it's been shared on a few pages as well. So the link is there, free to download for any affected
If you want to look for it, you'll not be long finding it. Full redress, okay.
And it is available on, I think, next week as well on iTunes to download.
Okay.
And I have to say, it just is a hope to raise awareness and put the crisis, keep it on the top of the political agenda. And it's a very therapeutic song. If you download it, turn it up in the car, sing in the kitchen, raise your voice. Enough is enough.
Take care of yourself. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg.
For joining us.
God
Thanks
bless.
for your time.
Getting bigger, we need to get out. It's only a matter of time until the house falls down. Blockmakers scot-free, the banks don't care. Lying awake at night and their kids are scared. And nobody cares, they left us all alone, still paying a mortgage on our crumbling homes. Our crumbling homes. So raise your voices and tell them all, enough is enough, enough is enough. Full redress is what we want. Enough is enough, enough is enough.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
The life of a Charlie's chip is never dull. Once they're selected, they're off to Charlie's, where they lose the jacket, have a nice wash, and once they get into shape and get ready, out they go to meet the public, side by side with a nice burger, some fish or chicken. Enjoy Charlie's Chips to sit in or take away daily from 12 to 8 at Pierce Road, Letterkenny. When the hunger hits, pull into Charlie's.
Are you ready to elevate your driving experience? Look no further than iMotors, your only Nissan dealership in the Northwest. The Nissan X-Trail has been crowned Large SUV of the Year. That's right, it's not just an SUV, it's an award-winning experience on wheels. Available in 4-wheel drive and a 7-seater. Visit us today at imotors.ie to find out more.
Donegal ETB's Further Education and Training Fair is on next week in the Radisson Blue Hotel, Letterkenny. Wednesday evening, the 28th, from 7 to 9, is aimed at Leaving Cert students, their parents, and those in employment looking to upskill, with talks on courses and apprenticeships. Then Thursday, the 29th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m, is for anyone interested in full and part-time education or training opportunities. This free event is perfect for finding out about the various options offered by Donegal Education and Training Board across the county.
How would you like to go on the holiday of a lifetime? Then why not join us for the Highland Radio Hoolie in sunny Salou? Spend 7 nights in the sun with some of Ireland's top entertainers, including Robert Mazzell, Jim Devine, Margot, Claudia Buckley, and many more, with live music all day, every day. Staying in the beautiful 4-star Sol Costa Jurata Hotel, this is a trip not to be missed. Book now by calling Country Music Tours on 074 9119 955 or email info@countrymusictours.ie. We'll see you in sunny Salou.
Live, on air, online, and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's Donna Marie Doherty with the news at 10 o'clock. Concerns have been raised in relation to the future provision of physiotherapy and occupational therapy in St Joseph's Community Hospital, Ballybofey. The HSE says the news follows a HICWA inspection. Local councillor Patrick McGowan says he's disgusted in the manner in which the news was delivered. He says there was not an official announcement per se, but it had leaked.
What they're planning to do, the fact there's no communication with nobody, the hospital committee, nobody else, and it's just the way the HSE seem to be doing their business. And I can tell you, this will be fought vigorously by everybody. We're just totally disgusted the way this news is just leaked out and broke out, and it reminds you of the bad old days. Like, this didn't come from a minister in Dublin announcing closing St Joseph's. This was leaked out.
A Donegal deputy says a multi-department approach is needed to deal with the defective concrete block crisis. Deputy Joe McHugh told the story of a family who began the process of joining the scheme in 2020 before the young mother sadly passed away a year later. She left behind her husband and 3 children. The father has since been asked to reapply for the scheme, and this, according to Deputy McHugh, is unacceptable.
In the words of the husband, this is an awful weight hanging over us. This family has been asked to reapply again, to start the process again, to start the long process of applying to get on the defective blocks scheme 4 years later. There has to be flexibility in this scheme which accounts or lends itself to facilitating people in this situation. There still is a disconnect in the understanding of what people are going through. The psychological burden is too heavy for people to endure.
The North's Economy Minister says Invest Northern Ireland wants to change the way it does business, and that will involve a lot more consultation at local level. Questioned in the Assembly this week about the Development Agency's plans for the Northwest, Minister Conor Murphy says what he envisages is a series of plans which are specific to individual areas based on local discussions. Mr Murphy told MLAs Invest Northern Ireland will have a stronger and better resourced regional presence, which he believes will help kickstart growth in the Northwest region.
Every area in the Northwest has
its own particular interests in this regard. What we are looking for is co-design, a stronger regional presence, a resourced regional presence, working in conjunction with council, in businesses, with the community and voluntary sector, trade unions, other interests there. So we agree a plan, the plan that the area want delivered in order to kickstart and support growth in their area is one that will be unique to each area.
2 men have died in a road crash in County Limerick. It happened on the N69 in Ballyeengland at around 7:30 yesterday evening. Queefsha Conley reports.
The men aged 19 and 20 died when the car they were passengers in crashed into a wall on the N69 at Ballyeengland at around 7:25 yesterday evening. 2 other men, the driver and another passenger aged in their late teens, were taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The bodies of the 19 and 20-year-old men were taken to the mortuary at University Hospital Limerick, where a post-mortem is due to take place. The road remains closed this morning to allow for a technical examination, and Gardaí are appealing for witnesses or anyone with video or dashcam footage of the road at the time to contact them at Askeaton Garda Station.
Meanwhile, a woman's being charged with causing the death of a pregnant woman who was hit by a car near the Donegal-Fermanagh border. 28-year-old Valeria Mamorum died at the scene of the collision on the Bow Island Road on Monday night. 2 other pedestrians were treated by paramedics. The suspects due in court later charged with a string of driving offences. A campaign's underway to reach those who were seriously injured in the Troubles but living outside Northern Ireland. It comes as a fund to compensate victims is due to close in just over 2 years' time. So far, almost £35 million has been paid out to those with permanent physical or psychological injuries. Looking to weather, wet and windy to begin today Wednesday, with outbreaks of rain gradually clearing eastwards throughout the morning, brightening up from the west with a mix of sunny spells and scattered showers. Top temperatures of 9 to 12 degrees will occur early on, with cooler air spreading from the northwest this afternoon. Fresh to strong southwest to west winds will ease later. That's all for now from Highland Radio News. Back again at 11 o'clock. The obituary notices this Wednesday morning, February 21st. The death has taken place of Nell Traynor, 9 Patrick Street, Strabane, reposing at Quigley's funeral home today from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Funeral leaving the funeral home tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. to the Church of the Immaculate Conception, Strabane, for Requiem Mass on Friday at 10 a.m. Interment afterwards in Strabane Cemetery. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. The death has taken place of Chris Toy, Lower Mount Marion, Milford, reposing at the residence of his mother Kate Toy, 11 Grey Rock, Milford, from 1 p.m. today. House private to family and close friends. Funeral Mass on Friday at 12 noon in St Peter's Church, Milford. Burial afterwards in Milford Cemetery. The funeral Mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. The death has taken place of Edwin Patton, Knock, Ballybuffet. Remains reposing at his late residence from 6 p.m. today. Funeral leaving there on Friday at 10:15 a.m. for Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church, Sessionale at 11 a.m. Interment afterwards in the adjoining churchyard. The Requiem Mass will be streamed live via the parish YouTube channel. Family time from 10 p.m. to 11 a.m. and on the morning of the funeral. The death has taken place of Liam Cassidy, Selbridge, Kildare, formerly of Kilmacrennan, reposing at his residence tomorrow evening between 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. Removal on Friday morning to St Patrick's Church, Selbridge, arriving for funeral mass at 11 a.m, followed by burial in Barntown Cemetery, County Wexford. The death has taken place of Margaret Greta Cole, Galdonna Manor, Cunningham. Her remains are reposing at her late residence. Funeral leaving there tomorrow afternoon at 1:15 for 2 o'clock funeral service in Newton Cunningham Presbyterian Church, followed by burial in the family plot in the adjoining graveyard. Family time please on the morning of the funeral. Family flowers only. Donations in lieu to St Eunan's Nursing Home Comfort Fund, care of any family member or Terence McClintock, Funeral Director. The death has occurred of Caroline Dixon, Fawn, County Donegal and Derry City. Removal to St Mura's Church of Ireland, Fawn, tomorrow afternoon, arriving at 2. The death has taken place of Charlie McGinley, 8 Iona Road, Letterkenny, originally from Rannafersta, reposing at his late home today from 12 noon until 9 p.m, with rosary at 9 o'clock. Funeral from there tomorrow morning, going to St Eunan's Cathedral for 11 a.m. Requiem Mass, which can be viewed live at churchservices.tv, followed by burial in Conwall Cemetery. Family time please on the morning of the funeral. Family flowers only please, donations if wished, to Friends of Letterkenny University Hospital, care of Pascal Blake Funeral Director. The death has taken place of Sadie Arnold, formerly Cura Namone and St Vincent's Close, Ballybuffet. Remains reposing at McCool's Chapel of Rest, Ballybuffet today from 5 p.m. until 10 p.m. Rosary at 9 o'clock. Funeral leaving there tomorrow at 10:30 for 11 a.m. Requiem Mass in the Church of Mary Immaculate, Stranorlar. Interment in Drumbo Cemetery. Requiem Mass will be streamed live via the parish webcam. Donations in lieu of flowers, if so desired, to Barnes View Ward, St Joseph's Community Hospital, care of any family member. The death has taken place of Bobby Tan, Kilmaclue, Creasla, Donegal, reposing at his home today from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Funeral in St Michael's Church, Creasla, tomorrow morning at 11 a.m, with burial afterwards in Doe Cemetery. Mass can be viewed on mcn.live. Family time please on the morning of the funeral. Family flowers only please, donations in lieu if desired, to St Vincent de Paul, Creasla, care of any family member or James Harkin Funeral Directors. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Cardja maha, Tá gcónaí an sin dó, ulc agus math. Is má leis nuair a bhíam hart. Éon uair a bhíonn sé ag dul amach faim an gléach. Agus lá aigean, is dócha go mar óig mé.
Ní cara maithe an tabhac. Is féidir an smacht atá aige ort a bhriise leis de 28 lá. Fá amach conas éirí an gahaf tabhac ag quit.ie. Ó aimimeach na séirbhíse sláinte.
And now, IMRO's 2023 Best Local or Regional News Programme, The Voice of the Northwest, the 9 till noon show, with Greg Hughes.
Good morning to you. You're very welcome back to the programme. It's 10:10 on this Wednesday, the 21st of February 2024. Lows coming up over the next couple of hours, so stay right where you are. Earlier on, we were talking about, and if you weren't listening, why not? We were talking about concerns over the loss of physiotherapy services from St Joseph's Hospital in Stranorlar. We also spoke to 3 great students from Loreto in relation to an awareness drive that they're involved in to increase water safety amongst younger people. My mum and myself need physio. None of us drive, and getting to Letterkenny would be hard. My mum is 89. St Joseph's was a vital service, and it's a disgrace that it's been taken away. None of the councillors deserve our votes after what they've done to St Joseph's Hospital, and councillors will say that they can lobby and all, but these are HSE decisions. But again, I only say that for balance, not to contradict your point of view or to say that you're wrong. We're in contact with the HSE to try and get some clarity on the situation. The same goes for the Buncrana Community Hospital, which used to be called the Buncrana Community Nursing Unit. It's been downgraded for the last few years. Day services have been moved to the Slieve Schnacht Centre outside Buncrana, and that's the story we covered quite a bit in this show as well. And just to be... just to make sure that everyone is aware that this is your show as well, and often a lot of what we talk about, it's off the back of listeners and others who say, look, this is happening. Can you do something about it, or can you publicise it? We don't know everything, so we rely on you listeners out there for what's happening in your area, or something that you want us to talk about, or think something you need to be talked about. And that extends, by the way, to a good news story that you think should be talked about as well. We're not just here trying to harvest bad news as well. We do our bit as much as we can to try and address issues, but we're here for a plethora of things, good and bad. So you have to get in contact with us too if you think we're not talking about something you believe we should be. 086 60 25,000, the WhatsApp and text, or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. Right. Let's see. We were talking about school uniforms yesterday, and this is I want to catch up on some of the comments. We got a flurry of comments that came in. It was a debate on whether or not school uniforms should be done away with. Arguments being made that in countries where there are no school uniforms, there's no increase in bullying and what have you, and some conflicting evidence as to whether it levels the playing field. So in other words, going to school doesn't become a fashion show. I'm just going to read your texts as they came in. My God, could you imagine the bullying that would go on in this day with mobile phones, etc.? Look what he had on today, and all of a sudden it's around half the school, and that per child who cannot afford certain clothes is laughed at. Keep school uniforms. And from my perspective, look, we had we had a good upbringing. Mum and Dad worked very hard to to get us the stuff that we needed for school and what have you. But there was a lot of us, and a lot of hand-me-downs and other things. And I don't want to talk. I don't want to mention it in case it sounds like I wouldn't change a thing. But I do remember the feeling of going into school, and with the best will in the world, I knew I probably didn't have the same clothes as other people or look as well as other people or what have you. And it was tough, and it's tough on the young mind as well. And some of these things do stick with people. So I would be an advocate of school uniforms, but I'm not hard and fast on my rules. And I'm not hard and fast on my rules. My opinion, they can change. But what I would like to see, I do like uniforms, but I want to see them affordable. I want to do away with this one-upmanship amongst schools that seems to be there about, having to get fancy jumpers out of particular shops. No, I don't want to do any shops any damage either, but you understand there has to be another way of doing it. Having to get the tracksuits, the tracksuit tops, the jackets. And well, you don't have to get them, but if other people do get them, then it's Mom, Dad, can I have this? Anyway, a caller says, at least when you buy a uniform, it does them for school year. I prefer that than trying to keep them fitted out for a full year in the latest brands every day or week for a school year. I think it's rubbish debate. The children can be individual and have their own personality while still wearing a uniform. For me as a parent, a school uniform's a good thing because I can't afford to buy labels for my kids or have a mountain of clothes for them to wear. The uniform means no one can tell how rich or how poor some families are. As for the gender argument, I think that's been thrown out as an argument far too much. Now yes to uniforms here. I think the gender thing actually might really be one of the key triggers for that conversation. Is kind of what the feeling I've been getting with what I've been reading over the last while. I think that actually might be about that. This might be what this latest debate is actually about, rather than it being a side issue. Parents have enough clothes to wash with the cost of electricity without this carry on. Plenty of time to express themselves out of school, says Ava. Lovely name, Ava. Do we need a fashion show at school every day? Asks a listener. Please do not do away with uniforms, says another. I wouldn't be able to keep up with the Joneses. Please don't un-uniform. So good for this reason. Another, it makes troublemakers at lunchtime easily identifiable. Keep them, says a listener. Another, uniforms are the best thing that ever happened. No distinction between the well-off and the rest of us. And another caller says, on a completely different issue, should be no school homework. But that is a debate in and of itself, especially with everyone having such busy lives. So the no's have it in relation to should uniforms be done away with. People don't want them. Unanimously, the people texting in the show so far today are in favour of them. And I have to say, I would be too, for every reason that was outlined in those texts.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Wednesday, the 21st of February. You're playing on the blue sheet. The reference number is S18. It's game number 8. The numbers are 13, 59, 7, 51, 57, 88, 72, 11, 23, and finally 82. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com. Relay for Life Donegal is back and is now open for team registrations. As a community, we relay together to celebrate cancer survivorship, remember those we've lost and fight back by raising awareness. Will you join us? Gather your friends and family and enter your team. Register today at DonegalRelayForLife.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Do you need a UK address? Save hundreds of euros on custom charges shopping online with Space Hub Dairy. We provide a full virtual address mailbox service for all your business and personal use. Save hundreds, possibly thousands, on custom charges with Space Hub Dairy. Call 048 71 87 8077 or online spacehubdairy.com for more details.
Have you discovered the Donegal Boardwalk Resort Restaurant yet? Open every Wednesday to Sunday. Take leisurely strolls along the boardwalk and treat yourself to light bites, hearty lunches or comforting dinners. Complete your stay in our cosy lodges. Explore more at donegalboardwalkresort.ie. Unwind, dine and savour the moment at Donegal Boardwalk Resort, Carrigart.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from 40,000 to 600,000 euro with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Now, the Banking and Insurance Defective Block Focus Group was due to meet with, we'll outline that in a moment. They were due to meet with representatives to discuss the issues, obviously, which are the focus of that group. Unfortunately, that meeting has been postponed. Sarah is of the Banking and Insurance Focus Group and joins us on the programme now. Good morning to you, Sarah.
Hi, good morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm good. I didn't want to confuse it, so I sort of delayed explaining what this meeting was about to allow you to do it so it's perfectly clear. So what was on the agenda for the meeting that was scheduled for today?
So today was a follow-up to the meeting that we had on the 11th of January, and maybe let me take you back a bit. So we've been working on this for up to a year now at this point, Greg. We came together this time last year and we presented our issues regarding funding for remediating your homes or demolishing and rebuilding your homes. And we met with TDs, the BPFI, who are the umbrella body that represent the banks at government level, Insurance Ireland, Irish Banking and Culture Board. We had all of those meetings way back this time last year, and we presented to the Oireachtas in July. In September, there was a headline by Niall Blaney on this show, or at least this station, I believe, where the banks announced that they would give 0% loans for anyone approved on the scheme. So that was very premature because that has not yet happened. So the banks still are not in a position to have a product to give to somebody who wants to borrow. So over time for us it became apparent that whilst money is one barrier to the scheme, ensuring the home is mortgageable and can achieve full market value is a bigger picture.
And that is...
And we kind of changed tactics mid-year.
Yeah, and that really, really is critical, isn't it? And I think it's actually really critical to the scheme and those engaging in it, or what level of either destruction of the property and rebuilding it, what it's rebuilt on. It's really, really critical, isn't it, that we know as soon as is possible if a house just has its outer leaf done, or if it doesn't have its foundations done, is it mortgageable? Is it insurable? Is it seen as being full market value to another property? And if that is not the case, we can't be rebuilding hundreds and thousands of properties that aren't mortgageable, aren't insurable, can't be sold, can't be exchanged, and have no real, don't have the full market value. It's so crucial, this clarification.
Exactly, Greg. And the BPFI did put out a statement in December, and it's an industry position statement that's very, very clear. And it says that, they cannot themselves determine what is mortgageable or what is not mortgageable. They rely on the professional bodies to do that, which means that an engineer would have to certify that the home is of standard construction or, is the same as the house next door, doesn't have defective material, as I understand it. So that position was very clear from them. And nobody, the BPFI statement talked about if someone decides to sell the remediated home, it's not about selling your home, it's about life and what happens in life. So nobody knows what the future holds. You know, you might have a marriage breakdown or a relationship breakup whereby a house needs then to be sold. It's not that people are here trying to rebuild a house and, you know, get it at market value today and sell it on. That is not what it's about. Many of these homes are built on.
It's our principal asset, though. I don't think there's any shame in wanting it to be of full value. The problem and the reality is, though, Sarah, and correct me if I've got the timelines wrong, between the last meeting, or at least the meeting before that, and this next meeting, though, the science has advanced in that, you know, there is increasing evidence that an out-of-leaf fix might only defer the inevitable, that the inner leaf will start to go, and maybe sometime after that the foundation might start to go. So ask the question, are we repairing these houses forever? Are we repairing them for 10 years? Are we repairing them for 20 years? Are we repairing them for 30 years? And with that confusion in the air, until such time as we know the full facts there, I can't see really how the banking and insurance sector can actually formulate a position that they'll stand by.
Yeah, so the science is all tied into this IS 465, the standard, and I'm no expert on that, but I will just say that it is my understanding that revised IS 465 will not be ready until next year. So although we have the science and we have lots of great reports from, you know, Professor Paul Dunlop and those people who have published what they're working on, we haven't caught up. The standard hasn't caught up to that. So in the meantime, the government are ploughing ahead to remediate homes at an old standard, which doesn't address many of the issues that we need addressed. As you said, we don't know what we're restoring a home, and somebody may be able to move back in. The government are I believe, my personal opinion, is that they're pressing the banks and the engineers to accept the 40-year guarantee. But let's just be clear: the 40-year guarantee means that you can get back on the scheme. It doesn't mean that your home won't have the same issue going forward. They couldn't say that, and they're reluctant to say that. And the science would tell them they should be reluctant to say that. So, banks, I don't believe, should accept a 40-year guarantee. At the end of the day, it's their asset right now, and whether they like it or not, they're tied into this process with us. We've all been rammed down this one road by the government, and, maybe it's the fact that Darragh O'Brien is too proud to say stop. Okay, maybe we did get it wrong. And, let's be the bigger person here and do that.
The only thing is here, though, the only thing the banks are interested in, though, and this is not in any way scandalous because it's how lending institutions work, is getting the money back out of the property or back out of the person who's borrowed it with interest. That's the only thing they're interested in. So if any guarantee sort of goes beyond the average term of a mortgage, do you know what I mean? But that doesn't fix the problem for the homeowner. Does that make sense?
But right now, many of these homes would still have a residual mortgage on them.
Yeah.
Greg, and the banks are very much tied in here. And right now, the bank has a mortgage that is secured on nothing. Mm-hmm. And they should be putting capital aside for that, and all of the banking regulations that go with that. And our meeting in January really set the scene, because for the first time ever, we had the engineers, we had the Department of Finance and Department of Housing, we had the BPFI and their members were present at that meeting on the 11th of January. We had the Insurance Ireland group there, we had local councils, we had homeowner reps, we had MAG. It was the first time we had everyone round the table, and it was, our group felt it was quite an awakening moment for some of the people around there. So the Department of Finance are saying, okay, we've got a X billion scheme that is been spent, and nobody knows if these properties are mortgageable at the end of it. So how is that good use of the taxpayers' money? The next meeting that was meant to happen today, Greg, was to also include a legal representation. So we feel like we are making some traction here, and if we can get everyone around the table, people need to do the right thing. There is no room here for people to be, personal opinions or political pressure. It needs to be stand up and do the right thing for the citizens of this country.
All right, and I don't want to confuse the situation, Sarah, but I mean, it is part of this, presumably, and I'm not a banker, but, how are these properties, significant amount of properties, reflected in the assets column of these banks, these mortgage providers? Are they represented at a discounted value, no value? Are they represented as full market value? Because I think that all ties into then sort of how they treat the homeowner in this whole process, if that makes sense.
Yeah, wouldn't we all love to know the answer to that? And to any of the good journalists out there, I would say to them, there's a story a week on this and somebody should really be running
You
with
can't
it and
get
trying to
that
highlight
info.
this.
That's the issue. But I mean, if I were a shareholder in a bank, I would like to know, and maybe the
We
information
are
is
the
out there.
shareholders.
Yeah, but exactly. But I would like to know, you know, how are these houses represented on their balance books? Is it full market value? Now, so what was the reason given for this meeting not going ahead, Sarah?
Unforeseen circumstances, Greg. So that could be anything. We don't really know what it is. But we do hope that they will reschedule shortly and get the right people around the table to keep pushing this on, because people are in the middle of remediating their homes. And, you know, it is of utmost importance that people go into this scheme with their eyes wide open.
Other than comments from individuals, do we know if this scheme references officially returning properties to a mortgageable condition? Is that contained within the legislation? Do we know off the top of our heads?
No, from what I've read anyway, I don't believe it does, but somebody could correct me on that if
I think
they
you're
can
probably
find the paragraph where it says it.
Right, Sarah, so just to recap,
it was very much an afterthought, Greg.
Yeah,
this scheme was put out, and it's very much an afterthought of, actually, the homeowners are not the only people involved here. The banks, the terms and conditions of your mortgage say that you cannot have damage to your home. You cannot do anything that creates an issue whereby insurance may not be valid on a property. And lo and behold, here we are, 10 years later, thousands of homes are in that situation, and the banks have pretended none of this has happened. Primetime reported in 2016 the central bank didn't do their consumer protection. You know, we met with the director of the consumer protection in September, and the central bank have done very little. They were in the Oireachtas last week, and they said the issues have been sorted. Yet we wrote to them in January and said that, you know, everything is still not sorted. So how do you have any trust in the people who are meant to be minding all of this? It's just shocking.
All right. So, Sarah, is there a positive note to finish on in that progress is being made, and it's regrettable that this latest meeting has been deferred? Is there a positive angle? I know the focus group are working really, really hard. I've had some really, I think getting people around a table in and of itself is a huge achievement. So is there a bit of momentum here that's stalled, or is this more troublesome than that? Or what's your assessment of where this particular focus group is at?
Yeah, I think when we look back on the year, Greg, we did have many moments where we thought, yes, we've got something here, and it can be something as simple as getting a meeting together, because for the first time that we went to the central bank or any of these bodies, it was like, this is nothing to do with us, we're not meeting you. So even having those meetings over the course of the year definitely feels like progress, and the 0% loans that the BPFI said that they would, help their members to launch is definitely progress. That, unfortunately, is held up between a debate between the Department of Housing and the Department of Finance. So I would ask all of our elected representatives to go and sort out that, and at least that is something that we can give the people, who can't afford to get on the scheme, given the way it's laid up.
Okay.
But we do. Firstly, we do need the engineers and the banks to make a statement on the mortgageability of the remediated homes. That is of utmost priority at this point.
Can that decision be made before the science is revealed early next year, though?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know what I think the decision needs to be, but I am not a professional in any of that. So, yeah, let's see what they say.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I just feel that all roads lead to full demolition and replacing the foundations.
Absolutely.
It just feels that's where we're going.
It has to, in my opinion.
It just feels that's where okay, listen, thanks, Sarah. Appreciate your time. And just to be clear, and I'm sure you are, we do cover that story as a lot as we couldn't do this show if we didn't, right? It affects so many people, but we don't also know everyone that it affects, because there are people finding out all the time that those cracks that they thought were settling cracks is actually defective concrete. People who are selling their properties in Donegal, and they have to be tested and then find out they have defective concrete, even though it never crossed their mind. There is a period of time in home construction whereby, don't be certain that your house is not affected by this, is all I would say, because especially if you think, well, my blocks didn't come from such and such a place, there was blocks being moved around the place and sold from different places that originated in other places. That's not to scare or fear anyone, but why do we talk about it so much is because we actually really don't know the full scale of this yet. And every day, you know, there's hundreds of people that are just sitting back, not saying nothing, just sitting back to see how this goes. That probably aren't even counted as affected, but they know they are in the heart of hearts. And it doesn't take long for an engineer to come up and have a look. And often as they drive up the driveway to dash people's hopes and say, I'm sorry, but this looks like it's defective concrete. Right, okay. Thanks, Sarah. We'll keep you updated on all of that, of course.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Hello, Jedward speaking. Sorry, Edward speaking.
Hey, bro. I'm glad you picked up.
Who is this?
It's me, John. I'm literally outside in the landing.
I don't know any Sean. Lose my number. Hello?
Edward, don't hang up. I'm sorry for saying a handyman could fix the gas boiler. Please forgive.
Always use a registered gas installer, or you could risk everything. Find one at rgi.ie.
Harkins have been providing customers with quality fireplaces, stoves and electric fires for over 30 years. And now you can experience the elegance of luxurious worktop from Harkins. Their experienced craftsmen can fabricate marble, quartz or granite worktops to your specification. So, if you're planning a new kitchen or bathroom or upgrading your existing one, Harkin Fireplaces can provide a quote for your quartz, marble or granite worktop. Visit their showroom in Ballybogan, Lifford or call 9141109 or visit them online at harkinfireplaces.ie.
Make great photos into beautiful gifts at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny. Different gift ideas include canvas prints, freestanding or ready-to-hang art blocks, and personalised photo books, perfect to mark any occasion. There's also jigsaws, calendars, mugs, and much more. For details, visit mcgees.ie. Turn your favourite moments into something truly special with McGee's Chemist Letterkenny.
Discover comfort with iHeating and Cooling, your trusted heat pump engineers and Mitsubishi approved service providers in Donegal. We design, install and maintain cutting-edge heating systems. Build a lasting relationship with us through annual service and comprehensive after-sales support. Contact us for a free consultation on low-cost, low-carbon heating solutions. Visit iHeatingandCooling.ie today.
Don't miss the ultimate hospitality industry showcase. Bunzl McLaughlin are bringing their trade-only roadshow to the Mount Erigal Hotel Letterkenny on Thursday the 22nd of February. Their local representative working in the community, along with 35 supply partners, will be on hand to demonstrate the latest innovations. This is an exclusive opportunity to witness the future of hospitality in action. Mark your calendar for Thursday 22nd of February from 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. and join us at the Mount Erigal Hotel. We'll see you there.
It emerged this week that the government is set to cut an allowance given to women with breast cancer, cut it by half, in fact. Women who underwent mastectomies had been entitled to 2 bras and 1 swinging prosthesis per year under their medical card's entitlements. But we understand that's now to be cut to just 1 bra per year to the value of €60. Lynn's a former breast cancer patient and joins us on the programme now. Lynn, good morning to you. Thanks for your time.
Greg.
Lynn.
How are you?
I'm okay, Lynn. How are you keeping?
I'm very well, but I'm shocked today. Another day you get up and another cut for vulnerable cancer patients.
Can you talk to us about the importance of this and what was provided previously, Lynn, and then we'll get on to your reaction to this decision, please.
Yes. Well, after your mastectomy, you have to go to the healing process, so you get 2 wee small soft bras to come home with, because all your scars and all have to heal before you get fitted for your bra that you'll be wearing all the time. So you're going to get all that. It's all done private. You get 2 bras, a very nice lady, and I'm just shocked. Like, it shouldn't even be means tested. We didn't know we were going to get breast cancer, so that should be part and parcel of your healing process.
Yes, so this
Right.
should be seen as the treatment, as the healing part of the whole thing, rather
Part
than
of your
as
healing.
something in addition that can be means tested or cut, as we've heard.
That's right. I don't think anything you need to survive after cancer should be means tested. It should automatically come, Greg. Right? But now they're going to send you home with one bra that you... Well, I'm just saying, the value of €60. These are specialised bras, Greg. They have to be fitting in the right places. They have to have pads a bit on the shoulders so the prosthesis isn't pulling blisters onto your shoulders. Like, it's just not throw you a bra and send you home. It's not like that. The woman wants to feel good. She's got 3 months healing to go, and she wants to feel like a lady again. Or no, she wants to feel good when she starts putting tighter clothes on. And I just feel that this is another shock to my system that the government's allowed to do this to vulnerable people.
Do you know what's so difficult, I think, Lynn, is that, and listen, I don't think anything should be a secret. I think it's good that people understand what women have to go through and the challenges and what have you. But it is another decision that affects women only. It is another decision that a lot of women affected by this might not be able to feel comfortable at talking about publicly. I wonder sometimes when these decisions are made, do they plan that in? That we won't get brave people like you, Lynn, and others who actually will speak out and say, this is what it's for, this is why it's important, and this is why it shouldn't be cut.
Well, it should. I don't know who makes these decisions. Is it men in suits? It's not got a mother or a sister or a daughter. I mean, we don't know who's going to be coming down the street tomorrow that's wearing the same shoes that I went. You know what I'm trying to say, Greg? Or the ladies in this week getting. I mean, there are over 3,500 a year ladies has to have mastectomies. They're diagnosed. It isn't their fault. And now they're going to throw them one bra a year. Just say you have 4 or 5 kids. How are you going to afford a bra? You'll give up your bra to take care of your family. So why should it be the government's decision?
Of course, not to mention, that people might be mentally and physically exhausted afterwards, probably unable to work, probably, even if there were tight resources to begin with, the cancer journey is very expensive. So it leaves people in a very vulnerable position.
You're very vulnerable, Greg.
Yeah,
yes,
indeed.
You're very vulnerable, Greg. You go home, you come back in 6 weeks, and then they're very, very good once you're in the system. But now, you're going to go back and you're wondering, so when you get the one bra, is that for age 16, age 90 or 100? Do you understand? Is it going to be one bra fits all? I'm just saying, who is up there making these decisions? But it's time the people and the woman of Donegal and all round Ireland got to their feet and we done something about this. We can't let government get away. A scabby bra, think about this, but that bra means a whole lot to the ladies who need it.
And again,
because they're going through enough on their head.
The health budget's, 23 billion? And this is tiny. This is a tiny amount of women. And again, I have to come back to the fact that, and I know I'm a fella, but it just seems to always, and maybe it's not the case, but I can't think of a similar decision that was made that would universally target men. This is another...
I bet you if men needed a prosthesis, that wouldn't be cut.
Well, that's the only conclusion you can come to when you see that it's time and time again, controversies in health seem to affect women, almost, well, it is universally. We would hope that someone has made this decision and that higher-ups will say, no, we can't do this, that this has to be reversed, Lynn. And in fact, actually, more support should be given to women post-surgery.
Yes. It has to be reversed, Greg. It really has to. The ladies should be getting more. If they want a swimsuit, they should get a swimsuit. They shouldn't need a medical card to get a bra that they really, really need, right? Because I know after surgery, you've bits hanging here and bits hanging there that wasn't there before. Scar tissue comes along, and the bras that you can buy in the shop does not cover, those bits.
Yeah.
So, you need the professional bras, which you can't buy in any shop, by the way. They're specialist bras. You either have to order them online or go to a more sophisticated shop that sells a lot of bras, and they will fit you for it and order it for you if you can't get it through your breast care nurse.
Yeah, and it's not a luxury
again,
item.
I feel that
and also
it's not a luxury,
and
it's
presumably,
a necessity.
as part of the healing process, it supports and secures where it might need to, or whatever it might be. There's a medical element to this.
Mental, medical, and it's a necessity. It's not something, it's really a necessity to the healing process to get your right underwear under your clothes.
Okay, Lynn, thanks so much for speaking out.
And can I just say this? Whatever government, can I say this?
Say what you
that
like.
Government can't run a bath, right? And I'm really shocked that government, they should take away their grants for a lunch for one day a year, and that would pay for everything that the breast cancer patients need. I'm really annoyed today. I'm really in shock, Greg. Okay. And thanks for having me on.
No, thanks for accepting the call. Take care of yourself. That's Lynn there, a former breast cancer patient, reacting to the news that the allowance given to women with breast cancer has been halved. Women who underwent mastectomies had been entitled to 2 bras and a swimming prosthesis per year under the medical card entitlements, and it should have perhaps been universally available to begin with, but now it's just cut to 1 bra per year to the value of €60. And you heard from Lynn there, these are not off-the-peg items. These are specialist items. They aren't a luxury. They're in part of the healing process as women come through an incredibly stressful experience, often tired, often under-resourced because people can't work. Maybe the partners had to take work off. There's a myriad of reasons as to why this decision seems absolutely crazy. Okay, next guest coming into studio after these.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
The Addams Family is coming to An Greenan Theatre. Join Gomez and Morticia in the hilarious musical comedy that will raise the dead, as well as your spirits. You'll be in stitches with the show that puts family first.
The intoxicating spell of the graveyard.
Letterkenny Musical Society's 23rd production, The Addams Family, on Greenan Theatre, Letterkenny, March the 5th to Saturday, March the 9th.
Rigor mortis!
In 1869, a dreadful new statistic was born in Ireland, the world's first road death. Since then, thousands of our loved ones have been added to the list of people who have lost their lives on our roads. That list of names does not have to keep growing, because together we can bring an end to road deaths, starting now. Make life-saving changes today, and you will help Ireland achieve Vision Zero. No road deaths or serious injuries by 2050. Learn more at rsa.ie.
Kelly's Diner, winners of Best Family Dining at the Highland Radio Hospitality Awards, is open right through the week with extended opening hours every weekend. Try the renowned breakfast, or the tastiest burgers in town, or something from the selection of healthy options, all on a menu that's packed with all the most popular dishes. First Communion and Confirmation catering is also available to book. All at Kelly's Diner, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Choose life. Choose fun. Choose not sitting at home getting bored. Choose something better. Something really fun. Choose Fundamania. Coming to the Brunswick Movie Bowl from March 1st. Choose regular, junior or family wristbands and enjoy some of Europe's top thrill rides. Choose fun for all ages. A legendary Fundamania event, 1st to the 17th of March. For details, see fundamania.co.uk.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by Grant. Building a new home? Choose Grant's A++ rated Airona air-to-water heat pump and Uflex underfloor heating. Visit grant.ie.
Okay, so the wet and windy weather clearing the region this morning, brightening up from the west with a mix of sunny spells and scattered showers. Temperatures today 9 to 12 degrees early on, but it will get cooler as the day wears on, with fresh to strong southwest winds easing later. Mary Walker Callahan is Regional Manager of Lifestart Services, CLG, and is in studio with us. Good morning to you, Mary.
Good morning, Greg.
Thanks so much for calling in. Right, okay, so Lifestyle Services is leading out the Parent Hub Donegal. Is that correct? And talk to us a little bit about the hub.
No, we are a member of the Parent Hub Donegal, and we led out on an initiative called the Parenting Platform.
I get you.
On behalf of the Parent Hub.
That's why I should read my notes. It's really Mary. Okay, and the aim of the parenting platform is to be sort of like a one-stop shop, a one-stop destination to help parents and guardians and caregivers in the tough task of raising children and raising them happy and healthy.
Absolutely. Look, we're always looking for ways to make information and tips and guidance more accessible to parents. So when this initiative came up, the Parent Hub decided to apply for funding, and the funding has come through the HSE and the Children and Young People Services Committees in Sligo, Leitrim, Cavan, Monaghan and Donegal. So it was a way to collate all of the information. So what we did was we carried out a survey for parents, and they identified what kind of information they would like on the platform, and that's who's guiding us with the information we're putting up.
Yeah, and I think having a reliable location to access it all is vital as well.
Absolutely.
Because, you never know when you're raising children. And as we know, there's no handbook as such to it. But you never know as problems arise. And where do you go? Where do you find that resource? This is a place whereby you would hope that most of the needs would be met in terms of information gathering.
Absolutely, Greg. As a parent myself, and I've worked in this area for many, many years, when something happens with your own children, it's hard to navigate your way through everything. So what we're trying to do is allow parents to access information easier. All of the information that will be going onto the platform is from professionals, both statutory and community. So we have a lot of HSE staff on there. We have a lot of the services throughout the region donating talks and stuff. So it's all evidence-based information and reliable for parents.
So talk to us about what kind of information is there.
Well, what we're hoping at the moment, we've about 28 items on the platform. So that could be anything from toilet training to speech and language to mental health and well-being to I'm just trying to think of all the ones that are out there now at the moment.
But I think
it's
people
a whole
are getting
range.
an idea of the type of stuff you talked about. The stuff that pops up on the parenting journey. Isn't it?
Absolutely. And what we want to do is cover from pre-birth right the way up to young adulthood, so that we have something there for everybody, that we have information there for mothers, we have information there for fathers, and information there for young people as well.
Okay. How do people access the platform?
Well, it's going to be shared out amongst all of the Children and Young People Services Committee, so the links will be up on all of our Facebook pages. Also, we have put a QR code together, so all practitioners in the region are going to have that QR code on just on their diary. So if they're with parents, they can allow parents to access it.
And is the idea that this is a platform that grows over time?
Absolutely.
And additional stuff is added to it?
Even though we've been developing it for the past 12 months, and I have to give credit to Chris Curran from Digital Creations who helped us develop the platform. Our idea is we're just at the beginning. This is about getting more and more information, and what I would say to parents is that if they go onto YouTube, there is an option to make comments. If we're missing information, if there are gaps, feed it back to us, because that's what we want. We wanted a two-way street so that they can direct us as well in what we're missing.
Now, all of us consume information in different ways. I find if it's, once I go past the third paragraph, I will try, right? I'll study, but I kind of zone out a little bit. So you have to have different ways of delivering the information, don't you, for people?
Absolutely. So there'll be podcasts, there'll be webinars, there will be videos, there'll be short videos, there'll be longer videos. So it's against people can choose how they want to access the information. I know a lot of people like the idea of podcasts, and you can stop and start it, and that suits them if they're out for a walk and they can listen to the information. Yeah,
exactly. And as you say, you just give a few examples of the things that come up. And I found myself as well with a young one. You can go onto the internet or whatever and find yourself down a rabbit hole, because all roads lead to something really quite worrying or negative. Now, I know this is not about health advice, but it could be about it could be about, well, why is my 2-year-old not saying mommy or daddy yet, or potty training, or
Yes,
you know what I'm on about.
Yes,
Stuff
absolutely.
that you go, well, where do you
Absolutely.
go? And sometimes actually, and this is, I'm not speaking about my own situation here, but sometimes then you people be reluctant to ask someone close to them as well. Do you know what I mean? Because then that can open up a whole...
I think parents always think when they're dealing with a situation, they always think they're the only one that is actually dealing with that, where in fact every parent goes through these issues. Like one of the biggest issues we would see in Life Start is around sleep and children not sleeping, and that is a big part of the platform. Denise Gillespie, who is a specialist practice nurse, has done talks on sleep, and she will talk parents through how you set up sleep routines and all of that.
Routine is just
routine
so critical.
Is absolutely.
And the children love the routine.
Absolutely.
And
they need it.
It does mean that sometimes you have to leave things, or sometimes you have to kick people out of the house.
That's right.
But if you can, for the most part, stick to a rigid routine, it's astonishing because the child loves it.
Absolutely, the child loves it, and home life becomes a lot easier when you have the right routines in place.
Yeah, and at the moment there's a lot of information there. It is going to grow. And even if you have a big blue sky meeting and you've 50 people in a room say, well, what should we put up here? It's possible sort of that you don't get everything. And that's why you need that sort of input from parents and guardians, don't you? To say, well, could you do something on this? Could you do something on that?
That's right. And I suppose another thing that's very important about this, like this platform has been developed for the region up the north here, for the 5 counties, but it's on YouTube, so it's accessible to parents, whether they're in Slayhead and Kerry or they're Achill Island and Mayo. So the idea is that it's going to benefit parents all over the country if they want to access it.
And also, too, I find this information, it's obviously going to be educational and informative, but also reassuring.
Absolutely.
Reassuring it.
And giving parents tips for things that they can do themselves. And, Greg, it doesn't matter who you are or what your background is. When I became a parent for the first time, my mother came from Kerry for 6 weeks. I would have been lost without her. So we know in today's world, parents don't have that extended family. They mightn't have that parent that can come and support them.
So how did that finish? Did you go, right, Mum, I've had enough help now, can you sod off?
No,
what
she had to
say?
My father wanted her back to Kerry.
He'd lent her for long enough.
Exactly.
Right, okay, so in a way there's not actually a website you can direct us to. It's done through the QR code.
Yeah, and it's on YouTube, so if you check the Life Start Facebook page, the link will be up. Okay. Any of the services that are working with children and families in the region will be sharing the information.
Okay, and we'll share it out.
And I think even if you Google the parenting platform, because I tried that before I came in this morning, it comes up straight away on YouTube.
Okay, very good. Parenting platform. Okay, I'll do that. Have a look at that. Okay, brilliant stuff. Well done to all involved, and hopefully it does help. I'm sure it will.
Great,
That's the whole motivation of it, isn't it? Mary
Absolutely.
Walker Callahan, thank you so much for joining us.
That's lovely, Greg. Thank you very much.
And you can depart as you see fit. I do appreciate your time. Thank you very much indeed. Right, to some of your comments here. A caller says, and the government tells us we're looking after women by removing them from the Constitution. So where are the women? Where's the care for women here? This is off the back of the conversation we had with Lynn there. And just to be absolutely clear, because a few people were texting in yesterday about is women or woman or mother, and I just want to make sure the nature of the sort of presentation here is I might make a casual comment, right? But when it comes down to a referendums, it's very important, obviously, that I'm careful with that. So I will be, of course, going further on. Mother, I understand the term mother will no longer be in the Constitution for my reading. The term women, the word women will. So if someone texted in yesterday and I may have confused mother and women, my apologies. A caller says he's having continuous issues getting through to his local surgery. Either the phone is constantly engaged, or if it does ring, it rings out with no one answering. Says his mother has had the same issues. When you call Now Doc, they want to know why you didn't go to your own GP. A caller says, I applied online to the passport office on Monday afternoon to renew my passport. Guess when it arrived? Today, Wednesday. That must be a record. We have had similar experiences like that. If it's a simple renewal, it can turn around real quick. But hey, try and get a first-time passport for a child, and the experiences can be a little bit more difficult. And it has to be robust as well, of course. Physios were told on Monday that they were to vacate St Joseph's by Friday the 23rd. Patients now will have to travel to Donegal Town or Lifford. Patients who can't drive post-operation, etc. Inpatients will not receive a service. I want to hear from more people who may be learning of this decision for the first time, and tell me how it might affect you. I didn't realise physios were only told on Monday that they had to be out by Friday. Are they being relocated to provide the services in Lifford and Donegal Town, I wonder? Where the physio department is now at St Joseph's, it was the old Drogheda ward, which was subsequently fully renovated when they moved the patients to Grania Court a few years ago. Surely the building's fire regs haven't changed since then. A total smoke screen to take away another service. It's downgrading by stealth. Okay, well, we are going to try and get some clarity on that. Good reaction to the Micah song we had earlier on, as it's being called. Great job of the Micah song. Very catchy tune. Rosemary says good morning to you, Rosemary, but Gillian says well done, Stella Farron. The redress song is brilliant. Ireland in a nutshell: don't help people who live in a death trap sandcastles, but allow RTE folk to get away with everything. Give them a payment as a send-off. Intentionally deceptive action designed to provide the perpetrator with an unlawful gain or to deny right to a victim. There's nothing unlawful about the process, even if we don't like it, but I have to say that, of course, for legal reasons.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring are 26 years old, and to celebrate, we're offering up to 70% off everything in store. That's right, a massive birthday sale with up to 70% off all tiles, wood flooring and bathware. Everything's in stock. Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring, up to 70% off birthday sale now on.
Keep out the cold, cold, cold and ring Fleming for their full range of garage doors, agri doors, insulated doors, milking parlour doors. Fleming, 91 48 234.
Connect Hearing is open for free hearing tests. Our audiologist is available Monday to Friday for wax removal services at our Letterkenny clinic in the Courtyard Shopping Centre. We also offer a home visit for those who aren't able to visit us. Our hearing is our social sense. Are you finding hearing more of a challenge? Call Ursula today on 07491 13296 to make an appointment. Good hearing helps us to connect to our family, friends and loved ones. Connect Hearing, connecting you to life.
PDO thread lifts and skin boosters, which rejuvenate the skin by improving facial contours, lifting and tightening the jowls, neck, cheeks and eyebrows, are available at Genesis Aesthetics and Skincare Clinic, Gweedore. To choose the right aesthetic treatment for you, contact Mary Ferry, your aesthetic practitioner. Also offering fat-dissolving treatments, dermal fillers and laser treatments for all skin conditions. Hair and makeup packages also available. Genesis Aesthetics and Skincare Clinic, Gweedore. 07495 325 75.
Mike Denver in concert with guests Declan Ernie and Brendan Shine at Angrinnan Theatre, Letterkenny on Thursday, February 29th. Tickets on sale at Angrinnan Box Office. That's Mike Denver with Declan Ernie and Brendan Shine at Angrinnan Theatre, Letterkenny on Thursday, February 29th. Don't miss a great concert.
Forward Emphasis International are actively recruiting for customer service advisors with both in-office and hybrid opportunities available in our Mellonhead and Buncrana locations. Fully funded insurance and financial services qualifications delivering attractive career path opportunities are available. Please visit their website www.forwardemphasis.ie and apply via their careers page.
With all the stories that matter across the Northwest, it's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Okay, it is 11 o'clock. Let's get a news update from Donna Marie Doherty.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Concerns have been raised in relation to the future provision of physiotherapy and occupational therapy in St Joseph's Community Hospital, Ballybuffet, on the back of a HICWA report. Local councillor Patrick McGowan says he's been trying to get in contact with the HSC in relation to the matter, but to no avail. He says he's disgusted with the delivery of the news and that communication must be improved between the HSC and the public and between the HSC and HICWA. A Donegal woman who had breast cancer says she was shocked at the government's decision to see the cutting of an allowance for specialised bras for women recovering from a mastectomy. The bras cost around €60 and previously women were entitled to 2 per year. Lynn McDevitt says it's a blow to those who are already vulnerable and that these are essential in the recovery process. A woman's been charged with causing the death of a pregnant woman who's hit by a car near the Donegal-Fermanagh border. 28-year-old Valeria Amorums died at the scene of the collision on the Bow Island Road on Monday night. 2 other pedestrians were treated by paramedics. The suspects due in court charged with a string of driving offences. There are fears that increased use of hotels for refugee accommodation will push up prices for tourists. Nationally, 12% of registered tourism accommodation is being used for humanitarian reasons, rising to 20 to 30% in some counties. Fáilte Ireland's latest survey shows the cost of accommodation is a concern for 45% of tourism businesses, and the number is one concern of attraction and activity operators. The North's Economy Minister says Invest Northern Ireland wants to change the way it does business, and that will involve a lot more consultation at local level. Questioned in the Assembly this week about the Development Agency's plan for the North West, Minister Conor Murphy says what he envisages is a series of plans which are specific to individual areas based on local discussions. And finally, PSNI are investigating a hit-and-run road collision involving a police vehicle and a black Land Rover discovery last month. It happened on the Lifford Road on the 27th of January at approximately 12:45am. PSNI are appealing for any witnesses with dashcam footage to come forward. That's all for now from Highland Radio News. Back again at 12 noon.
Donna Marie, thank you very much indeed.
Before you settle on a new hybrid, take the Nissan Qashqai e-Power Challenge. The Nissan Qashqai e-Power is a hybrid, so you don't have to plug in. But unlike other hybrids, it always drives in electric mode. You get the superior, smooth and quiet driving experience of an electric car all of the time. Take the Nissan Qashqai e-Power Challenge at your local Nissan dealer today. You'll never look back. Nissan, innovation that excites.
Okay, some of our listeners getting involved in this conversation in relation to cuts in an allowance, or however you might describe it, for bras and other things for women post-operative cancer. Siobhan joins us. Siobhan, good morning to you.
Hi, Greg.
What's your reaction to this story?
Shocked but not surprised, because a few years ago it was threatened before, and it was pulled back. I'd love to know the Irish Cancer Society's attitude as it, because there's a complete section on their website about the importance of bras, balance, hygiene, the whole thing. Simple fact, Bri, if I said to you, you have one pair of underwear, live with it. What are you going to do when you're washing it, laundering it?
Yeah.
They talk about an allowance. It's not actually an allowance. You go to the breast unit in Letterkenny Hospital, and the kind ladies there measure, assess whether it's increasing, reducing, or whatever. It's done professionally. The bras are then provided. There's no money involved. It's like saying, as far as I'm concerned, it's like saying to somebody that's, say, diabetic, you need insulin, but sorry, we're only going to give you 50%. That sounds dramatic, but for some people's mental well-being, that's what it is. Definitely, I agree with Lynn. They wouldn't be doing it if it was a man. I'd love to know the person who has come up with the idea, name and shame, ask them how they would live with it. It is an important part of life. Not everyone goes for rebuilds. I have been using the service for 22 years, and I couldn't praise them enough. I just think it's disgusting that they're always hitting, it's either disabled people, the vulnerable children, people who need care and can't be speaking for themselves, or in this case, they think people are embarrassed because they wear prostheses. Oh no, they're not going to fight back. It's time for emails to TDs.
Yeah, that's the point I put to Lynn as well, Siobhan. I just wondered if they thought that, you know, because for some this is a difficult issue to talk about publicly, if it would just go under the radar, but clearly not. Women aren't going to allow that to happen.
That day is gone. That day is gone. No, Greg, I don't know. I know somebody made a reference there to the RT, and that as far as the governments are concerned, you can have any government sitting there, but it's the senior civil servants in each department that make the decisions. All the ministers are signatories. So as far as I'm concerned, this is time for TDs, because this isn't just a Donegal issue, this is a national issue.
It's a woman's
issue. The ladies of Ireland are getting a kick again. On one hand, they're talking about the new vote that's coming up about how they're going to level the family. On the other, they're kicking at the mainstay in a household. The lady.
Okay. Powerful stuff, Siobhan. Thanks for your time. I know you've other things on, so I appreciate you sparing the time to speak with us. And Mary is with us as well. Mary, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg.
I
missed the beginning of the conversation there. It was only whenever you read it out then to say that there was been cuts now. Like, I don't follow the news big time, but I missed that now. But I think I missed out the first year and a half before I even knew that I was entitled to bras because of my breast cancer. And it's McElhenney's now that in Ballybofey, and they are very, very good, but I have to get a letter from my doctor every year to go to McElhenney's to get that. But if that is half, then that means that I have, as that lady was saying, one underwear. Like, so when I take it off to wash it, then I'm not going to have another one, because the first year or year and a half, I was using the bra that the hospital had given me in Galway after my operation. So it was washed and back on again. And as I said to the lady on the line on the office there, that when, like, I mean, I have a drawer, like, I mean, it's people probably laughing, but I had a drawer full of every colour, and I just can't wear them because they hurt me where my lumps was removed from. So therefore, I do have to go and get measured. Like, it's not like I can go into Pennies and buy a bra, like, you know, and that'll do me. Just doesn't work like that now anymore. So for that to be cut now, it's just, as the lady before you said, it's a slap in the teeth to the women again, like, you know, and putting them down. And when you're on...
No, go ahead,
Sorry,
Mary.
go ahead.
No, Mary, I want to hear what you have to say. Sorry. Go ahead. I thought you were finished.
Well, it's just like, you know, it's hard. It's hard whenever, like, you know, if you're on a social welfare payment, like I'm on a widow's pension, like, and it just doesn't, you know, you're trying to keep a house, you're trying to keep a car, you're like, I don't drink and I don't smoke, so therefore, like, I mean, yes, my car, my light, my heat, whatever. But it's just so hard. Like, I mean, when the price of living has gone up big time as well. So, like, you know, what do you do? Where do you go? Like, you know, it's just...
Well,
I suppose,
as the bills come out, you go, well, what is the one thing that I'm not going to spend money on? And it could be this item. You know what I mean? And the HSE tried this in 2017, and I'm not sure if they made changes later in 2017, but they've been looking to cut this for a long, long time. You know, and I mean, if I was a woman, I would feel that, oh, okay, here we go again. And I know that's a point that's come across during this conversation, but it is the elephant in the room. Would this happen if this were something that affected men exclusively? You can't say yes or no, but my strong suspicion is that it wouldn't happen, because the majority of the people making these decisions are men.
Yes, exactly. I've said that for so long. I've been involved in community and volunteering in groups in over 20 years, and I swear to God, how it just makes you so annoyed that it's always men that are behind these decisions. Even for, you know, like, for different things that would have been affecting women, and the women's groups that we brought together cross border, and it's just I don't know where it ends. Like, we actually even done a program before where, like, you know, trying to get 50% women, 50% men in government and that, and we done a training on it, but it's just not viable for women. It's just not. It just doesn't suit them at all. Like, away from home, especially if you're in Donegal or you're near Mallinhead or Greencastle. Like, you're away in the morning, you're back to, you know, like, for. No, you're not back for a week, like, and it just doesn't sit right. Like, I mean, that it's men all the time making the decisions. So, but hey, that's where we are, and you know what? Unless we stand up together, and the other thing is, I don't really totally understand this vote that's happening, but to actually turn around and to try and take women out of our constitution for voting, like, I mean, and all that, like, no, I don't agree with that, because it was women had to fight a big time away back in the early 1900s to actually be able to have a vote. So, like, why take that word out of our constitution now?
Mm-hmm. Okay, listen, Mary, thank you for your time. I do appreciate it. So, if I'm looking at information in relation to the entitlements people might have, I presume this is previously mastectomy. This is from Roaches. Mastectomy bras by 2. Breast prosthesis by 1, 2 for a bilateral surgery type. Swimming breast prosthesis by 1, 2 for bilateral surgery type. Mastectomy swimwear by 1. So it says, ask your GP or medical professional to write your prescription for the products listed below. Now, if I go to the Irish, if I go to cancer.ie, I presume this is updated information then. So you're entitled to €200 every year towards a prosthesis, 400 if you had a double mastectomy, and €60 every year towards your mastectomy bra. So there is a huge cut there. There's just no doubt about that. There seems to have been a huge cut in relation to what people are entitled to, what women actually are entitled to. Okay, we'll be moving on to Wellness Wednesday. Of course, we have been talking about wellness of a different sort, but Wellness Wednesday is coming up for you after the break.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 Till Noon Show on Highland Radio. The 9 Till Noon Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Choose life. Choose fun. Choose not sitting at home getting bored. Choose something better. Something really fun. Choose Fundamania. Coming to the Brunswick Movie Bowl from March 1st. Choose regular, junior or family wristbands and enjoy some of Europe's top thrill rides. Choose fun for all ages. A legendary Fundamania event, 1st to the 17th of March. For details, see fundamania.co.uk.
The way you eat a cream egg says everything about you. If you eat yours by cracking it open like an egg, that means you're a bit punchy. You don't whisper in the cinema. You've been known to cut your own fringe. And you never get jet lag. Search Cream Egg Test to find out who you really are. Cadbury Cream Egg. How do you eat yours?
Transform your home with a visit to McGinley's Furniture, Letterkenny, located at the Portlink Business Park just off the Port Road. You'll find a huge selection of top-quality suites, beds and mattresses, also slide robes and custom-made dining and occasional furniture, with prices to suit every budget. See the great choice for yourself at our showroom, McGinley's Furniture, Portlink Business Park, Port Road, Letterkenny. Click mcginleysfurniture.com.
Mr. Blue Sky, tell us why. The Lotto jackpot is an estimated €2.5 million. Play responsibly in store, in app, or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
Highland Radio are celebrating another birthday. We are inviting you to join us for our Highland Radio Birthday Bash on Tuesday the 19th of March in the Mount Errigal Hotel. Joined by the one and only Margot, myself, David James, plus special guests Brendan Quinn, Declan Ernie and Patrick Feeney. This is a night not to be missed. Tickets on sale now. Why not treat yourself to one of our package deals, including dinner, bed and breakfast, plus your ticket to the show. For more information, visit the outlet at highlandradio.com or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. We'll see you at the Highland Radio Birthday Bash.
Right, on today's Wellness Wednesday, we discuss the Beat Goes On conference for young people with congenital heart disease and their families. It's taking place this coming Saturday, the 24th of February. Sheila Campbell is CEO of Heart Children, and Sheila joins us on the programme now. Hi, Sheila.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
I am good. Almost 19,000 people are estimated to be living with CHD in Ireland. 500 to 600 of them children born here with the condition annually. Is there sort of different at different stages in life where this becomes apparent, i.e. maybe it can be early on, but I would know people sort of later in life in their teens or early 20s that something came up and it turns out it turns out that they had congenital heart disease. Is that how it works or can work?
Yes, it can work. It can be something that there's a delayed diagnosis on, and it can be some problem that actually just raises its head, at a later point in life. But the majority of cases are diagnosed now at the 20-week scan. So 70% of all babies of the 500 and 600 that you're talking about are diagnosed at the 20-week scan, which is phenomenal, really. It gives the parent a great deal of time to prepare, to get over the shock, of what's to come. And it may be simple enough to fix, or it could be, a very serious problem for life. And it also allows the medical professionals to be ready when the baby is born and to be, to make an assessment of what they need to do immediately.
And it can
so the majority will be picked up.
Sorry, Sheila, continue. Sorry, I thought you were finished there. There's a slight delay. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, just to say that, the rest of the children would be diagnosed probably at birth, or, and then a smaller percentage would be the ones that you've mentioned that might be diagnosed later in life.
And it can set the child, of course, and parents, guardians on a path, can't it? Learning that information more often than not early on. But then at what stage does it become clear the treatment options or the treatment pathways that are there for the child once born?
Well, the first thing, I guess, is to say that congenital heart defects, there's over 40 different types of congenital heart defect, and all of them would have different ways of being treated surgically. So I think until the baby is born and until they can get a clear picture of the structure of the heart, and they probably won't necessarily know, or in some cases they may know because it might be obvious on the 20-week scan. So at birth, I suppose they'd be deciding what is the plan for the child, and I think depending on their wellness or not, that surgical procedure or intervention might happen quicker than and sometimes the baby can just be too small and they need the baby to actually put on weight and to grow a little if the child in any way is born immaturely or is underweight at birth. So there's many factors that would be decided upon when it comes to what the treatment is going to be.
Mm-hmm. But how often do we know might it require surgery?
I think in the majority of cases, it would definitely require intervention, and sometimes, and in the majority of cases, it will require surgery. So there are simpler forms of CHD, and that might be a hole in the heart. Many people will have heard of that. And in many of those cases, it's a repair, and those children may never look back. They may be, free from medical monitoring for the rest of their life as they grow older. But for about 20% of all cases, they have the complex forms of CHD, and they can be things that mean that you only have half a heart operating. The heart can be turned backwards in the body. It can be on the wrong side of the body. So some of these things, lead to much more complication and therefore much more complexity in treating them throughout life. And those children will have repetitive surgeries as they grow, as the heart grows, particularly if they have, valves and things that need replacing. As the heart grows, they will need to be replaced as well. So that, for some people that would go on for quite a while. And some people with CHD may have long periods of when they're well. But they do need medical monitoring because the likelihood is at some point, that they will need to be assessed and there could be surgery required at a later stage.
Would it be fair to say that, or accurate to say that we have seen great advances in this area in terms of diagnoses and treatments and what have you over the last number of years?
Absolutely. As I've mentioned about the scanning, I mean, that's a huge step forward in sort of medical advances and being able to know that there's going to be a child born with CHD, and for parents to know the diagnosis at that very early stage. And even now, some of the procedures that would have done and wouldn't have had as great outcomes through more medical advances, the percentage positive outcomes from them are much higher at this point in time. Mm-hmm. So like everything else, with more technology and more ways of doing things, and, sometimes it just makes it so much easier, and there's so many more options for the medical professionals to offer to the parents in terms of treatment for the child.
Karen Gillespie joins us as well. Karen is from Buncrana and is mum to Alfie, who is 5. Karen, thanks so much for joining us and helping us to raise awareness and highlight this condition.
Morning, Craig. How are you?
I'm good. Tell us about Alfie and when he was diagnosed and what happened after that.
Alfie was premature. He was born premature, so he was 6 weeks early. So whenever he was in neonatal, then he was 10 days old whenever they could hear the murmur. Alfie was actually scanned for the heart defect at the 20-week scan, but unfortunately it was missed at that stage. But then again, you have to think about it, the size of their wee hearts at that stage is the size of your thumbnail. Wow. So that's what Sheena was saying, only 70% is picked up at that stage. But whenever Alfie's was picked up, he was 4 pounds, so he needed to put on weight before he could have any intervention. So when he was 6 weeks, then he did go to Crumlin for his investigations, and we were told they had a large hole in the heart, and he also had a blockage in the aortic valve. So he had that repaired in Crumlin at that stage whenever he was 6 weeks.
And I can only imagine what it must have been like, Alfie so little being born, but also so little then to go for, the exploration and then surgery as well. It's incredibly tough on mums and dads.
Yeah, it definitely is, especially whenever your baby is born and whenever they're born premature, and then to be told that he has a heart defect as well. It was quite daunting. But with myself, I also have CHD as well, and I had surgery, so we kind of had it in the back of our minds. Were we expecting it, were we not? So that's why he was screened at the time. And just with my family as well, obviously they've gone through it with us, so like we had the support background there for us, and we were kind of prepared and what to expect, and the medical staff were great. He was born out in McGalvin because I was in Derry at the time whenever I went into labour, and then he was transferred then to Crumlin for his surgery, and he was then sent to the Royal in Belfast for his recovery, and then we came back to McGalvin then. It wasn't long after that. When he had a surgery, you could see every single day then the difference in him. Wow. He was just like a new baby. Just a new baby after his surgery. It was definitely needed. Now, he hasn't looked back since.
Which is fantastic. And in Alfie's case, is this a one-time intervention, Karen, or will he maybe require further surgery into the future, or is it a wait-and-see process, or what's the situation with Alfie?
It is a wait-and-see process. He does get seen every 6 to 12 months. They always say never say never. We don't know. Hopefully not, but he will be just monitored every 6 to 12 months now to see how he gets on here.
And is that the same with you, Karen, or with your congenital heart defect?
Yeah, so whenever I was born as well, it wasn't picked up at birth. It was whenever I was 6 months. I was actually admitted into our local hospital for double pneumonia and bronchiolitis, and it was then that they picked up the murmur as well. So whenever I went to Crumlin, when I was a year for my investigations, I was diagnosed with aortic stenosis. So I then had a balloon dilation when I was 5, and then when Alfie had his heart surgery in May 2018, I had my open heart surgery then in December 2018. So my surgery is to last 8 to 10 years, so we'll see from that then when I'll require another procedure again.
Right, okay. So, I mean, obviously you can't get any closer a bond than that between a mother and a son, but there's an extra sort of closeness there, I think, with you and Alfie, Karen.
Of course, yeah. And I do have another wee boy as well. He was born there in December, and he got his investigations done just before Christmas, and his heart is 100%.
Okay, that's great. It must have just been an emotional roller coaster for you. I'm just thinking, after the 20-week scan, did you sort of hold it a little bit back, saying, well, maybe they missed it with Alfie, or were you on a high thinking, right, okay, he's not affected, and then obviously learned later on, or you must have been all over the place? Well, I suppose it depends on our individual character, but it sounds to me like you were up and down through that whole thing.
Well, yeah, whenever we were in the 20-week scan, obviously that did give us hope. But they do say when you're in there that there is a possibility that they could miss something because obviously the heart is so small.
Just the thumb size, yeah.
But,
you have to be pragmatic, I suppose, yeah.
Of course, yeah. And then whenever he was a neonatal and he was up and down, we kind of knew that there might have been something there. Yeah. And then at 10 days old, they did say whenever a baby is born, it can take 10 days to hear a heart murmur. And it did take the 10 days, and it was then that he was sent for his investigations then, yeah.
Okay. So, Sheila, what do we... It is about raising awareness, and it's important to do so.
Yeah.
So what do you want to come from these awareness months? Is it that people look out for maybe signs and symptoms, that they have an understanding that, there are other people going through this? Every sort of awareness month or day or week or whatever it might be, has a particular aim. Where do we need to be at in terms of understanding, I suppose, and acknowledging widely congenital heart defects?
I think it's the very basic that people just don't know what congenital heart disease is, and that it's not anything that you've done. It's not, lifestyle related. You are born with it and you will have it for life. And so it's just an awareness of how serious a condition it can be. It is what we call a invisible disability or silent disability because, you could look at somebody with CHD. Karen's a beautiful looking woman. You would never know that she had CHD and required open heart surgery. But with that, the symptoms that probably go around it are like extreme fatigue and lack of concentration. So, people with CHD do have to mind themselves a lot more. And that is something that we, maybe when we're at school or at work, that people are aware of it and maybe just make small concessions for people who have CHD. And, to understand the reason why they can't take part in sports and things like that, because, contact sports and when you have, mechanical valves and stuff in your heart or issues with your heart, if you're getting knocked or bounced around, it's just not possible for you to take part in those sports. But that said, there are so many others: golf, tennis, all the other ones that you can take part in. And I think the best thing that people with CHD probably can do is do as much as they possibly can, like everybody else, and just get on with their lives. But it's just to be aware of what it is, that it's a major illness. It's the number one birth defect worldwide, and that comes before cleft palate or Down syndrome. So one in every 100 children born worldwide has a congenital heart defect. So, we talk about cancer, childhood cancer, but, it is up there as being one of the very serious illnesses that affect children. And when some children can, recover from cancer, if you have serious complex CHD, you have it for life. So it's a lifelong illness. There is no cure. It's repetitive surgeries to repair and patch. And, it's just to recognise that these people are living with something that day to day they are coping with.
It's a
even
mix,
though they might be, generally well.
It's incredibly serious, but at the same time, there's hope as well. It's striking that balance, isn't it, in the understanding of it. So the conference is taking place on Saturday in Dublin between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. Obviously, maybe some people may be able to get down from the northwest. Is there a webinar element to it, or is it all in person?
No, there's no webinar element because we do a lot of breakout sessions and one-on-one work with the young people and with the parents, because we also want to try. We're trying to teach confidence and resilience in these young people, because at age 16 they leave the protective bubble of Crumlin and they move to the Mater Hospital, and they're in with all the people with coronary heart disease as well. So they move from a very protective environment where they will have known everybody, and at every appointment they'll have probably met the same people, and now they're into a new space, and now they're going without mum and dad most likely, because they now have to take control of their own medical future. They need to know their condition. They need to be able to take on board the advice and the terminology that the doctors will use. So they just need to be very self-activated and self-aware and know the symptoms that might mean that they're heading into danger zones to make contact with the hospital, that kind of thing. Okay. So, and with that becomes the whole mental impact of that. Do you know what I mean? So we're providing them with that teaching, and also the parents, and how to take a step back and let go and let your child, step forward.
Some people see a great advantage in coming together with their peers or peers in a similar situation to them as well. Sheila Campbell, CEO of Heart Children, thank thank you so much for your time. Karen Gillespie from Buncrana, best wishes to you and Alfie and all the family. Thank you so much for helping us to try and raise awareness. It's greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, Karen. Okay, back with more shortly.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Refresh your shoe wardrobe with the latest arrivals from Green Shoes, bringing you the latest styles from top brands such as Riker, Birkenstock and Wonders. Also, New Balance, Bugatti, XTA and many more. Step into style this season with Green Shoes, Market Square, Letterkenny Shopping Centre and Fulcara, or at greenshoes.com. One for all and Shop LK cards accepted.
Feast on the best of Ireland with Dunnes Stores. Enjoy Bord Bia quality assured meat, like a 1.8 kilo ham fillet, now 20% off. With fresh vegetables like green cabbage, just 49¢. Fresh fish caught daily on our shores, like organic Irish mussels. And local top quality cheeses, now 3 for 2 at Dunnes Stores. Plus, you can save at the till with our 10/50 grocery voucher. Dunnes Stores, always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next grocery shop of €50 or more.
Shrek the Musical, the West End and Broadway smash hit is back and is bigger, brighter and more beautiful than ever. Join Strictly Come Dancing's Joanne Clifton as Princess Fiona alongside DreamWorks' iconic duo Shrek and Donkey. This 5-star triumphant musical spectacular comes to Millennium Forum Derry from the 16th to the 21st of April. Tickets selling fast. Book now at millenniumforum.co.uk.
If you need advice on what's best for coughs or colds, or what's best for sore throats or flu, just ask at your local Brennan's Pharmacy. If you need advice on the best vitamins and tonics to put a pep in your step, just ask at your local Brennan's Pharmacy. Whether it's about backaches, headaches or tummy aches, your Brennan's Pharmacy team can help. If you need advice from someone you trust, we're here for you at your local Brennan's Pharmacy, Buncrana, Clonmany and Creeslaw.
Local Enterprise Week is back, and 2024 is all about inspiring you to be brave when starting, growing or scaling a business. Running from Monday the 4th to Friday the 8th of March, Local Enterprise Week is organised by Local Enterprise Office, Donegal, in association with their enterprise partners. During the week, over 20 events are taking place across Donegal. Booking is essential. To see the lineup of events and speakers and to book, visit localenterprise.ie/Donegal or call 9160 735.
I wanted to say thank you, by the way. Yesterday was National Love Your Pet Day or International Love Your Pet Day. It was an excuse to see your pets, and we got some lovely pictures of dogs and cats, cocks and pheasants. And we put a selection of them up. We had a huge reaction, by the way, of all your beautiful animals, and we got a selection of them up on our social media, up on Facebook, Highland Hub. So if you like looking at other people's animals, get in and have a look. As I say, it was quite nice. Lovely to see them. Right, some comments here. Business Mattress is on the way, by the way. Our daughter was born with a heart condition. We were not aware until after birth. Airlifted by the Air Corps. Open heart surgery at 6 days and again at 18 months. The team in Crumlin are top class. Teenager now and doing well. Okay, big shock, but great to hear things are working out well. Just in relation to the changes that are being made to women's entitlement post-breast surgery. Heretofore, mastectomy bra by 2, breast prosthesis by 1, 2 for a double surgery, swimming breast prosthesis by 2, mastectomy swimwear by 1. Now, €200 every year towards a prosthesis, 400 if it's a double mastectomy, 60 quid every year towards mastectomy bras. It's a big cut. They've been looking to cut this area since 2017, and there was a furore in 2017. They delayed the decisions then till later in 2017, made some changes. This has been like everything, like we're children, you know, like we're mushrooms, like the St. Joseph situation, treating us like idiots. You know, we're going to have to get to a point where the public's treated with respect in terms of decisions that are being made, that have the balls to announce a decision. Say, from this date, this is what's happening. Why do the public have to discover what's happening, then kick up a stink, and then hope to get it reversed one way or other? You know, it's like the SET changes. Why wasn't there a public consultation for a year with parents, with teachers? You know, this is in relation to the allocation of special education teachers' hours. Like, why are we treated like kids? I mean, do you know what? In this day and age, you wouldn't treat them like kids. You can't treat them like kids. We can't treat our kids in Donegal like kids. For instance, like the defective crisis, we had a concrete crisis we were discussing earlier. We can't treat our kids like kids anymore because they have to live this life and we have to explain it to them because it's everywhere. So we actually don't treat our children like I'm asking the powers that be it civil service, be it government, whatever. Please treat us like grown-ups. Have a consultation. If you have to put something across the line after a consultation, just do it. Have the neck to do it. But let's talk about this. Why should every woman in the country potentially be affected by a decision that no one had the testicular fortitude to speak about publicly? It had to be found out after the fact. The same with the SCTs, the same with St. Joseph's, on and on and on. A caller says it's not just bras for women, it's incontinent pads for beds. Getting nappies for people who are being cared for at home also went. We now have to buy them. It's a drip feed of the removal of services. Where does it end? Again, that's another area. And a big issue for incontinence pads or nappies is the disposal as well, especially with pay by weight. That's been introduced. I've spoken to people where they're getting a huge financial hit in relation to that. Now they're not getting them for free either. Again, it seems like it's done by stealth. Right, okay, let's take a breather. Let the blood pressure drop. Time for this.
Business Matters in association with the Faculty of Business at ATU Donegal. For a career in financial governance, consider the Level 9 MA in Governance and IT in Financial Services. Call 9186206 or email donald.hannigan@atu.ie today.
Okay, so that means it's time for Business Matters this Wednesday morning, and we say a very good morning to Chris Ashmore. Chris, thanks so much for calling in.
Hi, Greg.
Right, before we get to what's coming up on this week's podcast, let's get to a little bit of news. And Rafone native Garrett Hart in the headlines.
Yes, he's been named as the new chairman of the Donegal Dublin Business Network. He's well known in media circles, a former editor-in-chief of News Talk radio station and founder of Hart Media, which is a communications and public affairs consultancy. So he succeeds Paul Doyle in the post. Paul from Letterkenny had been chairman since the inception of this group some 7 years ago. And by the way, they have just announced that they're holding an event to coincide with International Women's Day. That's going to take place in the Chop House restaurant in Dublin on March the 6th. And the gathering will be hosted by News Talk presenter and Ballyshannon woman Andrea Gilligan.
Now, we heard on the news, but well worth recapping because there is money out there available for refurbishment of vacant and derelict properties. It can be a hard enough old area to navigate, but the council are going to help out there, I think.
Yes, now this is attracting quite a bit of interest. Grants of up to €84,000 are available to refurbish vacant and derelict properties that have been vacant for 2 years or more. Now, subject to certain conditions, there's also a repair and lease scheme, a support of up to €80,000 per unit. And then there's also some support may be available if you need a conservation expert to provide you advice on even refurbishing a vacant traditional farmhouse. Now, Donegal County Council are holding a series of meetings, Greg, all over the county. The first of them will be on Monday, February the 26th. That'll be at the Public Services Centre in Milford. There'll also be meetings in Rafo, Ballyshannon, Ramelton, Letterkenny, Convoy, Newton Cunningham, Moville, Ardrag, Widore, Ballybofey and Stranorlar. So have a look at the council website or contact the council because we all know there's a lot of vacant property in the county. And look, not everybody's going to be eligible or to have the little bit of capital you'll need to co-fund, but certainly worth looking into.
Some people. And of course, those details are on our website as well. Yeah. Local Enterprise Week just around the corner.
Yes, big week coming. Events will take place from Monday to Friday, March the 4th to the 8th. That's Local Enterprise Week 2024. an extensive range of events. You can book your place on the localenterprise.ie website, or else go to the Donegal Leo Facebook page. Lots coming, so worth checking out.
And news of an upcoming webinar too, Chris.
Yeah, there's a free webinar about gaining insights into business intelligence. It's been hosted with the Sligo-based Data to Sustain Digital Innovation Hub in collaboration with the Atlantic Technology University. And amongst the speakers will be Owen Foley, a lecturer in systems analysis at ATU, and Phelim Murnian, an information systems lecturer at ATU. So they'll be sharing their insights to help people understand this whole area.
And great minds think alike, Chris, because I took quite a bit of interest in the changes to the Consumer Price Index, because it kind of holds a mirror up to us to some extent as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, the Consumer Price Index, they have this basket of goods. There's over 600 goods that they use to calculate how they're going to get the Consumer Price Index. So things come in and out. So digital cameras are gone, nightclubs are gone. The Swiss roll, which many people would see in the cupboard at home, that's gone. So this happens over a period of time, and it just reflects the way society is changing.
And in things like air fryers and what
air fryers, yeah. So it's whatever's in vogue. There's usually a time lag of maybe a couple of years as things become more common. But another thing out is that the telephone landline used to be part of it. So.
Okay, right. Let's talk about what's coming up on this week's podcast.
Yeah, looking at the whole area of apprenticeships. Now, there's a lot of changes here over the last few years, and we're going to see a lot more in the years to come. When you talk about apprenticeships, what springs to mind for most people are the traditional trades and crafts, plumbing, electrical, etc. But now we have a situation where there are a lot more apprenticeships on offer, ranging from financial services to engineering, farming to hospitality, even biopharma, retail. And some of these courses, they're tied in with the whole FETAC and the education system, and you can go up to level 10, which even up to a master's. So big changes there. So I've been speaking with Vinnie McGrory, apprenticeship manager with Donegal ETB, and Lorraine Murray, the senior apprenticeship training advisor, who've been explaining all the changes and just what is available.
In its simplest terms, an apprenticeship is a structured education and training program which combines and alternates learning in the workplace with learning in a training and education centre. That's in the simplest terms. So something like an electrical apprenticeship, which most people know, would be a combination of working with your employer, coming into a training centre like an ETB training centre, learning the theory and the practical, going back out to your employer, and then alternating between your employer and either an ETB or a TU to do the theory side of things. And at the end of that apprenticeship, you have the capacity, the skills, the knowledge to work autonomously in your chosen trade, so that you can set up your own or you can work with a company. But after the 4 years you have completed, you are a qualified craftsperson in that craft.
Okay, Chris, interesting. We're going to hear the full interviews on the podcast. And it's something personally over the last couple of years, the move towards apprenticeship and the valuation of them and giving them almost equal standing to other pathways to progression in life. I think it's been a fantastic thing. One thing always annoyed me when people talk about skilled labour. And it was as if all linked to do with education, but without a lot of the apprenticeships you talk of, maybe the more traditional ones, the building, welding and all that kind of stuff, incredibly, incredibly highly skilled stuff. We'd have nothing really, nowhere to live. The housing crisis would be much worse than it is. So really good to see in fairness to the government and Simon Harris, the focus on encouraging and promoting apprenticeships. So the full interview available on our website right now, highlandradio.com, for you to stream from there or download. Also available on Spotify or iTunes and broadcast live on the radio too, Chris.
Yes, on Sunday after the 6 o'clock news. And if you want to contact me, it's businessmatters@highlandradio.com.
Chris Ashmore, thank you very much for calling in to us. And we'll be back with Chris next week, of course. We'll be back with more on this show after we take this quick break.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Looking for that Hoka experience? Try the new range at bmcsports.ie. New Arahi 7, Clifton 9 or the Eversoft Bondi 8. Step into our safe size experience so you can fit the best trainer for your foot. Let us make your trainer experience the best it can be. Brian McCormick Sports, Main Street, Letterkenny.
Do you need a UK address? Save hundreds of euros on custom charges shopping online with Space Hub Dairy. We provide a full virtual address mailbox service for all your business and personal use. Save hundreds, possibly thousands, on custom charges with Space Hub Dairy. Call 048 71 87 8077 or online spacehubdairy.com for more details.
18 hours. That's how long O'Hara's takes to craft the distinctive flavour and texture of our 18-hour fermented sourdough bread. You see, at O'Hara's of Foxford, we've been baking bread since 1951, so we know you can't hurry perfection. One bite and you'll agree that true taste takes time.
Choosing the perfect gift is not easy. You wanted to show how much you care and how much you value others. So what if you could give a gift that could fix a broken heart, even save a life? When you leave a gift in your will to the Irish Heart Foundation, you do just that. Please call 01668 5001 or visit irishheart.ie so no hearts are broken by preventable heart disease and stroke.
Bei ina breisideachas agus áilúna ETB Gunnanal ar siúl an Headain agus an Jardín seo thugainn san Ostan Radisson Blue Letter Canning. Bei Ternona de Cedain ón seart go dínnaí dírithe ar galtaí artiste ar a dismathirí agus áthúisiúd atá fástaithe atá geirí uasálanse dhéanú agus bei canseanna ar thuirsaí agus ar frontí seachtaí ar siúl. Bei Jardín an fihanniú ón 10 go dín dó dírithe ar dainir bí a bhfuil sama acu in Idehas Lán Amsre agus Páirt Amsre nó in Yeisine Álainne. Hen temacht sír náisce seo forfa chun álas a eil ar na réan na éagsala a teir foiil ag bord Idehas agus Álainne Gunnanal ar fud an Hyundai.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by Grant. Building a new home? Choose Grant's A++ rated Airona air-to-water heat pump and Uflex underfloor heating. Visit grant.ie.
Okie doke. So brightening up from the west with a mix of sunny spells and scattered showers. Top temperatures 9 to 12 degrees, but it's going to be warmer and windy. Later, colder and calmer. We're joined in studio now by Camille Satinskati. We're going to talk about the rental crisis in Donegal. It can be framed as such, can't it, Camille?
Yes, absolutely. So, personally now, I moved up here to Letterkenny in 2018. Now, of course, I lived in student accommodation starting off. But even at that point, you could notice that, you know, the rent wasn't too bad. So it was student accommodation, €400 a month each per person. 4 bedrooms, that's 1,600. For a 4-bedroom house, that's still not
decent
bad.
Return, isn't it, though?
Absolutely, very decent. After my student accommodation, I had then actually moved into a house with just one other friend. And we were paying €640 for a 3-bedroom house, double story, back garden, front garden, spare bedroom, kitchen, living room. Now, in 2024, I am living in a converted shed for €700 a month. So it has a communal kitchen and living room, the 1 bedroom and then the 1 bathroom. So going from a house for 640 to, you know, basically a granny flat.
You're living in a room with access to a toilet
Yes.
and shared kitchen.
Yeah, basically.
That's it. And
Yeah.
it's £700 a month.
Yeah, exactly.
You probably, in a way, ironically, feel lucky to have got that because there probably aren't 15 of these types of accommodation available in Letterkenny, if you know where I'm coming from.
Oh, absolutely. My choices for when I was looking for a house in last July was either a 2-bedroom apartment for $1,250 a month or this for the 700, because anything else that was there was mica, there was rotting, there was mold, there was everything, you know. So you are very limited on your housing choices.
As a 24-year-old, you stated that you can no longer afford to live in the Republic of Ireland. I mean, that's stark, isn't it?
It is dark, but it's the truth.
And it's also where do you if, say, a foot up the ladder? What's next? You know what I mean? If they come to you and say, by the way, we are moving our granny into this converted garage? You know, where do you go next? Is your future constantly sharing with other people? Is it every penny you earn just going into putting the roof over your head? You know, like, what are the options for people?
Absolutely. So personally for myself, I find that if that was the case and they decided, well, we're moving our granny back in here, I would either have to move home or leave the country, because even now I'm living paycheck to paycheck just to be able to afford to put a roof over my own head, which isn't the way a 24-year-old wants to live. It's not the way anybody wants to live.
Do you see any pathway at the moment to home ownership, or is that just not even on the radar?
That's not even on the radar.
I mean, you'd love to, but perhaps. But do you see any scenario where that could happen?
Not in the next 20 to 30 years.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't want to be 50 years of age and only buying my house then.
And you're making a choice, really, in that your family is here. You want to be in have reasonable access to your family. If that weren't the case, I don't think you'd be here.
If my family wasn't here, I would have been gone as soon as I had realised all the rent inflation. So about this time last year, I would have already left the country, just like so many of my friends who have went to the Netherlands, Germany, America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, because it's more affordable.
And there's no real sign in sight of things improving, because if you look at in terms of the delivery of property, but also the demand that will be on it in terms of alternative accommodation for those affected by defective concrete, an increase in people moving here to live and work, which is fine, you know, with remote working and all that type of stuff. But the point is if you look at 5 years ahead, 10 years ahead, it's hard to see a situation whereby the rent crisis eases here.
Absolutely. From what I have noticed, you know, going from even my own family's experience, from when my older sister moved out, was renting her own properties, to now, 10 years later, you know, the increase is absolutely astonishing. 17.7% is the average rent increase in Ireland. It's 39.9 in Donegal.
And if you look at the gap between in situ renters and new renters, it's huge.
Oh, it's massive.
It's huge in this county. I think it's the second biggest, if not the biggest gap.
Oh, it's massive.
And that just, in the most plain way, points to the issue here. And then of course, it's about availability, and it is a landlord's market, because there's more people that need property than there is property available. And it's very easy then to see why mums and dads, or whatever the combination might be, have 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds still living at home.
Absolutely.
Because we also have the lowest disposable income.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are on minimum wage here.
Absolutely. And, you know, of course, minimum wage has gone up now in January in 2024, but so has the rent.
Yeah, but if you're 18, an adult, it's $10.40 an hour.
Yeah. $10.40.
I mean, I don't think that we should have a ticker tape parade for that either. Like,
no.
Why should an 18-year-old get $10.40?
Yeah.
If they say, right, I'm an adult now, I want to try and get out my own 2 feet. It's not an option.
No, it isn't an option. And I feel that, you know, just us ordinary people, we're not being taken seriously with all of this. There is a demand for houses, but there is no supply in Donegal.
I'm not sure how well rent pressure zones have worked down the country, but at least there's something there that's trying to keep a cap on things. There's no such thing here, which you'd be forgiven for thinking, well, there mustn't be a rental crisis in Donegal, but we know that's simply not the case.
No, unfortunately, I feel that the rental crisis is much higher in County Donegal, and as sad as it is, because I do love this county, I do feel that I am going to have to leave because I can't afford it. Who can nowadays?
Your other half's in Northern Ireland, is that right?
Yes, absolutely.
What's the story up there? Like, if you drive through Northern Ireland, you see houses being built left, right and centre.
Yes.
I did actually notice that. I was driving to, I can't remember where I was going, Cavan or something, and it seemed every 5 minutes there was houses being built.
Yep.
Now, that's just purely my observation, anecdotal. But what's he saying?
He feels that Ireland is very overpriced in rent, in house buying. He himself was looking, at moving over here, buying a house. He couldn't afford it.
From the north of the Republic.
Yes,
yeah.
from the north of the Republic. Whereas now, he bought his own house there 6 months ago.
Right.
No problem at all in the north. He can afford it. He wasn't stuck. Nothing. So, and like... he is in and around my age. So going from him having a house to me living paycheck to paycheck to put a roof over my head.
And just to go, sort of back to the beginning, this is your personal story. This is your personal
Absolutely.
journey. But the top point that you've been making or want to make is that there's a whole generation that's similar to you in the similar boat that are having to make life decisions. It's because even at 22, 23, 24, it's where will I be in?
Yes.
How will I get my independence? How can I do... And often... Now, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. A lot of people go to Australia and the house prices over there are through the roof, and it's a tough old life, for a lot of people. But anyway, with that being said, there are options. People moving within Europe or over to Northern Ireland, whatever it might be. You feel that we're going to lose a generation if we don't do something.
Personally, I do feel like we are going to lose the generation from 18 to 28, if not the whole way up to 30 or even higher. I have had many friends, even since, say, November just passed, I've had 7 friends move out of this country because they could no longer afford it.
All right, okay. It's interesting. It's interesting points, very strongly made, and it's backed up by reality.
Yep.
It's backed up by figures from, 5 or 6 years ago, where we're at now, what's available now. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
This is not anecdotal. It's there for all to see. All right, listen, we'll try and get some reaction to what you've had to say. We really do appreciate you calling up. Great to see you. Sorry for keeping you waiting, but
No
it was
problem
worth
at
it.
all.
Thank you so
Thank
very
you
much.
so much.
That is Camille. It is Camille or Camellia?
Camila.
Camila, okay. You're so polite for not correcting me. You should have. Here's me trying to get Satin Skatey right. Perfect. First name out the window. All right. Thanks so much for calling up. I do appreciate it. Have a wonderful day, everyone. We'll be back here on the